are all sitting here shooting the shit.
What's up, everybody? This is Father's Day. We're shooting the shit. I'm your host, DJ Duss, here with my co-host, Carlos. How you doing, Carlos?
Exhausting yourself?
Yeah, actually, I'm pretty fucking tired myself, too. We have a special guest here, a good friend of ours, Adam. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Just got up from a nap.
A nap? I think I did the same. How long was your nap,
I
actually?
I think it was about 2 hours.
Mine was give or take.
Started on the couch and then it moved to the bed.
And you, Carlos, you had what? You were coaching football? Softball?
Let's see. I've been out of my house since 9:30 this morning.
That's not bad. It's pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah, hour and a half drive in between where I was and the game.
Where was the game?
Bars.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've delivered stuff out there.
And that was near Outer Lake.
Oh, really?
Really?
Wow. Did you do any Father's Day dinner, real quick dinners, anything?
Yeah, I went to my parents. They did some steak and potatoes.
That's always good.
Yeah.
Always
nice.
good. Anything else happen to you guys this weekend at all, or? No?
I made some amazing fajitas yesterday.
Some fajitas, yeah.
Carlos, you might appreciate that.
Carlos might appreciate that.
Again with the racist stuff. Like, holy shit. We're like a minute in and we're already getting into the races.
He said appreciation. He didn't say anything else. He said appreciation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But what was I gonna say? I don't know. I didn't know. My weekend was all right. I'm just exhausted from work. That's about it. Mm-hmm. What about you? You went to Vancouver lately, didn't you?
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that.
So I went out with. Anyways, I'm an associate pastor at a church here in Ottawa, Capital City Church, and I went out with the senior pastor to a conference. It's basically by an organization that plants churches, and it helps churches plant churches.
Okay.
So if you're like a young couple and you've got 50 people and you've got a bit of money, but you know they will supply you with like some extra funds.
So that's what I was gonna ask you. Is it the system? Is it like, okay, like I have an idea, but you're gonna help me put it all together?
Yeah. So they've done it before. They're like, okay, so 80% of churches that start fail. It's similar to like business.
I was just gonna say that. I was like, yeah.
And for a lot of the same reasons, really.
Really?
You move in, the landlord stuff, or stuff like that. All kinds of things you're not expecting. Can't get a venue, those kinds of things. So they've gone down that road before, and their church plants are 97%. So it sticks.
That's interesting.
When you start something that sticks.
In you weather, everything was beautiful out there in Vancouver.
Oh, the weather was nice. Yeah, even when it was like not nice, it was still nice enough.
Yeah. Is it? Did you go around? Is it as expensive as everyone assumes it is, or?
The gas is expensive.
Yeah.
The gas is about 30 cents more a liter.
Wow. Yeah. I don't even know if I'd go anywhere at that price.
People are driving across the border, paying the conversion.
Wow.
And still saving money, getting their gas.
You know it's bad when you're using your Canadian dollars to American. Yeah. That's pretty crazy.
And they can't connect the dots with who they vote for and why that's happening. So, what can I tell you?
Yeah, that's true. That's always that. It doesn't matter. Have you not found whoever you vote for? You somehow get it screwed anyways. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're like, we're switching. Screwed. Switch. Screwed. You just find a way to just fuck us anyway. So.
So what kind of background is the church? Like, is it Catholic? Is it Christian? Is it Muslim?
Well, no. So it's pretty simple. Like it's basically like a Bible.
Buddhist?
It's like a Bible believing sort of thing. So I mean, if you're going to classify, you'd say it's Pentecostal or charismatic or something like that. But really, we don't really have anything outside of the Bible that so we're not adding anything to the Bible to justify what we do.
So you don't you don't believe in saints?
No.
And do you basically you acknowledge that Mary is the mother of God, but mother of Jesus, but not like how us Catholics will praise her?
Well, the thing is, I mean, when it comes to Mary, a certain level of respect is due her. I mean, God chose her for a reason to, be the mother of his son, right? And so I think a lot of people who aren't Catholic are sort of Protestant or evangelical will just sort of put as much distance as they can between them and Mary, just because Catholics worship her, and so we would not worship her, but I would honor her.
Yeah, I see what you're
and
saying.
say, you know what, like this is a very special woman in history. You know what I mean? But in terms of she needed to be saved just like any other person, and if you're a Christian, so it's not like I would not really ask her for anything because
Oh, I see.
she's just like me. Like, I don't need to go to her to go to Jesus. Well, I can just go to Jesus kind of deal. And
You think
so,
she got a free pass into heaven?
No, nobody does.
Come on, bro.
She carried.
There's got to be a couple. There's got to be a couple of them that be like, all right, you skipped the line a little bit here.
But the beauty is, everybody. I mean, going to heaven is free, anyways. It's not going to cost you anything. What are you going to do? 10,000 push-ups and say, okay?
What are you talking? I think we paid enough taxes here on Earth.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where we try to keep it as simple as what's in the Bible. In terms of saints, we don't really get the candles out and make pictures and all that stuff. However, when Paul writes to the church, let's say in Ephesus, he says to the saints. So he wasn't really talking about the guys on the statues. He was talking to the believers in the church. And so, to rightly believe and understand what's going on there is like, if you're a believer, well, you're actually a saint. And that's like a real mind. It's a real mind job when you're coming from a Catholic background. You're like, hey, wait a minute. Those guys, are a special class.
Yeah, because you grew up Catholic.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I
As
asked
much
you.
as much as I
Didn't do very well in that class.
As any of us did, I guess.
I guess the Catholics are the rebels.
Well, let's just rewind here. We've known each other what, like 30 years almost.
I was just thinking about that. That's why I wrote it down. I know Carlos from some St. Luke in grade 2.
Holy shit!
And I know you from St. Margaret Duville
grade
in
5.
grade 5.
Yeah.
But you probably went to St. Luke.
No, I was on the French side. You guys were on the English side.
Okay.
And I knew Carlos before I went to St. Margaret because we lived in the same hood.
street.
Yeah. So it was a little bit different. But let's rewind here.
We were
Okay.
at 8 and 9, I think, same time as me and Carm, as like you, me,
Yeah.
and Carm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking, that's amazing.
That is crazy. I know. I remember bumping these two young little girls at the bar, right? And they're like, "We're gonna get matching tattoos," and I'm like, "Why? That sounds stupid." You know what I mean? Like, she's like, "Wow, we've been friends for X amount of years, and like, how many times is that? Like, that you still are friends with people that long?" And I'm thinking, I'm like, "Fuck, we have a good majority of friends that we've known for 25 plus years, like,
yeah.
real good majority." And I was just like, "Damn, I'd be full of tats if that was the case." You know what I mean? Like,
That's a lot of that.
like a big freaking clown, the clown posse. But let's
What
go.
would we get?
Oh, good lord! That would be a whole nother fight.
no.
We'd have to go through video game tournaments, and whoever wins gets to pick the tattoo or something. So,
Oh, no. I think Adam was there the time where Carmen threw us out. One of the
did
times.
Carm ever? Were you ever there when Carm threw us out of his house for
It
playing
was a
video games?
sleepover. I'm pretty sure it was the 3 of us and Carmen.
No, I don't
I
remember.
wasn't there for that one.
It was me, you, and John Idoni.
I know that was one. Then I was driving.
I got kicked out twice with John Idoni, but the second time, John kept telling him that he was gonna, can I put it?
Stick it in his
I think
ass.
I know where.
Not his ass,
I know where.
but one of his cousins' ass.
Oh,
and
Sonia?
and then like, you know this. Laughing is always, you're always just in shit as much as the guy that says it. You've known that your whole life, right?
Yeah, I'm back to
I'd
that.
say something stupid. This guy would fucking die of laughter onto the left. Adam would be a fucking jerk because he's laughing harder than everyone else. Yeah, then he kicked us out of his house for that one too. But that one was more legit than the video game, though. You know what I mean? But all right, so we go back. It's about we'll say almost 30 years. I know.
Wow.
30 years. That just rats us out that we're over 30
Weird,
already.
right? Well, when I was a kid, my dad used to be like, "Yeah, I knew that guy 30 years ago, and I knew that guy," and I was like, "Wow, that's a long." It seems so huge to me.
Yeah.
And now that's me.
It's like fucking.
Except
It's
like
nothing.
we keep up. Like it's like my dad. I haven't seen that guy in 30 years, but like I see a lot of people from 30 years.
It's
ago.
true. It's very true. We both went to what? Same elementary school, junior high. We went to what? The same high school.
St. Pat's. Yeah.
So, and then, I don't know, Carlos, you missed some of those days where me and Adam would get a little intoxicated.
I lived through some of those.
Yeah, you lived through some of those.
yeah.
Through some. But it was weird because
Like four, I think.
him and I we'd pop these things called Thermal Pro.
Oh man.
Those fucking pills.
Wow. Took those off the market.
Well,
eh?
yeah, those are going to kill us.
Yeah.
So, but we're not smart because we don't take that during the day. We decided to take it at 10 p.m. and do about 1 billion curls while the other one's doing video games and switch. But what I'm pretty much saying is we were pretty nuts back then. And Adam would always turn around and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to preach sometime." And I'm going, "Fuck, this vodka's good." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never
Still
did.
available on Amazon.
What is?
Thermopro.
You should buy some if you want to commit suicide. It's fucking great pills, I'll tell you that.
I think they
No,
took
there's
one
two.
of those active ingredients.
There's
out,
two things. There's two things. Either you'll kill yourself or you'll kill your wife.
or kill someone else.
Yeah, that thing was nuts. Like
Forget it. It's a thermometer.
Oh my God! Don't ever order anything through Carlos. You will get the wrong thing. Whatever you have to insert in your mouth, you'll be inserting it in your ass. So don't do that, all right?
It's a temperature thing.
Yeah, there's something to put in your ass, no? There's thermometers for your
He's
ass.
not even going to talk about it
I
anymore.
don't think so. There is.
Yeah, it's not in the Catholic section.
Yeah, it is.
That's pretty good. So tell me a bit. So back we weren't teenagers. You knew your vision.
Yeah.
You were a bit what we'll call fogged by some of the
Yeah.
you know,
really messed up.
some people. Oh, look at this fucking! I wish we had video because this fucking bozo just spilled Coke all over himself.
He does that every time, doesn't he?
No.
Not
do that
pretty
every
often. Pretty often.
He loves Coke so much he wears it. Fuck. Coke cologne. Fuck. So so back then we're a bit. We obviously one Valentine's Day Adam was dating some girl. And,
Yeah.
And he gives me a phone call, and he ditched his date for me. That's how it was back then. You know what I mean?
Could have said no homo in the beginning.
Well, whatever. It was just one of those like fuck. I was much funner than her. No, we had some good times. And
Hopefully, it's not the girl you married.
no,
No.
come on, it's the girl that he didn't end up marrying.
No, if you want to know what happened there,
Oh, this is good.
I kept hearing, I don't want anything for Valentine's Day. I'm like,
Okay, now,
so weird.
okay. Can I ask you a question? Now that you're old, what does that mean now to you?
Well, I have.
I want everything for Valentine's.
You know what?
Yeah.
I got in shit because I didn't give her a Mother's Day card.
I kind of dropped the ball Mother's Day, but
Here's a piece
you know
of
what?
shits.
I got to be honest. Like my wife, I don't know how.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I deserve her, but she's normal. Like she's on the normal scale.
That's good.
Like she's not crazy.
So
if
now-
she says something, she means it.
Okay, so now tell us about the non-normal one.
Okay, so let's say, to be nice, that she's also somewhere on the normal scale, but maybe somewhere else.
Okay.
But
Yeah, because there's going to be some women that are going to be listening to this and say, yeah, that's what I did too, or that's what I expected.
I would say that this is somewhat typical behavior, and my wife's not typical.
Okay,
In,
yeah.
In terms of like
That's a good way
the
of
way
putting
we
it.
get along, it's not typical. It's weird, right? So I kept hearing, "Hey, I don't want anything for Valentine's Day. I don't want anything for Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day for me was always been a downer in the past."
and we're fairly young then, right? So like,
And it started making sense to me, and I'm like, okay, fine. You're not getting nothing, So I showed up with nothing, and the door opens. It's like, what? No flowers? And I was completely shocked by this behavior.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I've always had that short fuse. And I was kind of like, okay, I think I'm done with this. Right now,
let's wrap
But I was
this
like,
up.
okay, let's see if I can salvage this. Let's see if we can make it work. So we went for a drive, and it was just one of those. It just turned into such it turned into a comedy show for me because I just kept pushing the button. I'm like, this is done. I'm like, we're done. Okay. So I dropped her off. I went to the beer store. I called Joey. I'm like, what are you doing? He's nothing. So we just had a good laugh all night about that.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
And that's a good depiction of my youth.
And then the relationship was over the next day or that night.
Yeah, it was over temporarily, and that was another thing that was sort of typical
Was
of
that
a lot of people's relationships, and
But now you bring the flowers.
I didn't bring the flowers last time. Wait, did I?
Well-
I don't remember. Flowers aren't the big thing with
some
my
of the-
wife.
Back then, no. It's what's her thing? What would be like you made her happy that day or impressed?
All right, there's a book out. I don't know if you've read it.
Yeah,
but
there's a good chance. No.
It's called The 5 Love Languages, and there's different ways we express love, and there's different ways that we understand love from others. And some people like gifts, and some people for my wife, she likes it when you do something for her. Like,
That's legit.
Go out of your way to do it
Legit.
extra beyond what's your portion of the dishes or whatever. Okay, I know she normally does a dish, so I'm gonna make sure I do this, that, and the other thing. So she's just happy about that. For some reason, she really likes that. And it's one
That's
of the
cool.
things that I'm actually not good at.
Oh, great.
So it really means a lot when I do get around to doing some extra stuff around the
So
house.
every time I have a guest up in here, I always reminisce about a story that slightly embarrasses myself.
Okay.
So I don't try to embarrass my
Hey,
guests.
you know what? It's all out there, man. I'm okay with it.
There was so our buddy Jamie lived a few blocks further, and it was the store. We had that quickie across from our house, right?
Really?
Okay.
The one you had to call for permission when we were kids.
Yeah, that one. So, well, don't worry. There was no more permission. No one wanted to go there after what I did. So we ran there, and Carlos, we opened the door, and it's fucking locked. So I knock on the door, and the fucking guy turns around and goes, "We're closed." I said, "Whoa, what do you mean?" I'm like, "What time do you close at?" He goes, "What time is it?" And I wanted to punch him in the face because you knew what his answer was going to be. If you would have said it's 11:45, he would have been, "We close at 11:45." You know what I mean? He would have pulled
I think he was getting a cock in the back.
Carlos, I don't know if you were there or not, but I don't know. I don't know if you were the one getting it or receiving it, but I don't know. All I know is I was
Chinese guy.
fucking no, I don't know. so I go back, and I decide to shit in a bag. I don't know if you were a part of the first shitting incident.
Oh boy.
But anyways, I know I was. And I had to drive with this bag hanging outside the car window. And then I had to smear it on the door handle. So, the first time is funny, right? It's like hee hee ha ha, like a bunch of fucking clowns. But like, it was like March break or something, right? And then like day 5 of me doing this, Adam drives by in the van. And he sees me in the bus shelter waiting for this guy to open the store.
Yeah, that's the truth.
He pulls up. He's like, "Not again," he says.
Yeah, I was insomniac at the time. So at 5:45 in the morning, I'm like, there's not going to be anybody in the world up right now. I'm going for a drive. And there's Joey at the bus stop.
Hold on. You guys are driving. So I'm guessing this is somewhere between 17 and 20.
Yes, and 19 probably. Yeah, yeah.
The end of high school.
Yeah, I think it was last year. Yeah. So what I would do is I would
19 or
sit in the bus shelter facing the store with binoculars. But see,
You had that much time
So bad.
with binoculars.
dude, I had nothing but time.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
but
the thing is, we weren't really hanging out that day. It was just I bumped into him. Like
At
I bumped
5:40
into my best buddy
at 5:45,
5:45 in the morning, and he's up to his hijinks.
and he stops, and the first thing he says, "Not again." And you wanna know what the joke was? The joke was on me. Because when I was smearing the shit on the handle,
He had to grab the shit.
I'm gagging, like it's like,
Definitely, yeah.
I'm fucking freaking out. This dude wiped this shit off without a fucking flinch. Without a flinch. So now I'm like, after day 4 or 5, I'm like they're laughing at me, man. Like if they see me on camera, my facial, you know what I mean? Like I was fucked up. But yeah, I did that for a whole week, and then Adam caught me on like the 5th day again. That was pretty funny.
Oh yeah, those are.
You got any stories that comes up to mind?
You know what? Those are.
I almost forgot that one.
That describes those years pretty well. Like we just we got drunk. You never did drugs or smoked cigarettes or anything. But I was a pretty prolific pothead as well to add to everything else that was messed up. So. So there's a lot of like weird stories and things we would get up to and do, and I had other groups of friends too that were more,
Did you ever look back and say, "What the fuck"?
I look back and think a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know what? Like it's easy. Like you listen to a story like that and you think, man, that's I'm ashamed of that, But actually, when I. So
A lot of the great ideas that came up on the spot were pretty stupid. That's all I came up to the conclusion.
they seem like a good idea at the time.
Oh, it sounds like you're
And
a
that's-
fucking genius,
Yeah.
Where's the Metro bag? Plop, plop, plop,
There's some good stories. You know what I always liked about hanging out with you back in the day is like you're good at ripping on people, and you're really good with the comebacks.
Yeah.
Like you always, and it was like something. It's not something you say every time somebody says this.
Yeah.
Like you'd have a new one, and it was. Like,
I know. I really, really do not try to like duplicate my disses,
Yeah.
or I don't have faith in
Yeah.
that. I hang out with people like 10 years later, they have the same joke. I'm like, how does he do that? Again,
Yeah.
I don't even give a fuck if no one is around me that time. I say,
Yeah.
what the fuck.
Mama.
I just love getting that whole,
Well, that's one of the things for me. Once I start to cut out the bad language and all the jokes, ripping on people, at some point I had to decide okay, I'm gonna have to cut this out.
yeah.
And then you get around other groups of people, and they're like trying to rip on you. And it's like, 100 times less funny than what I used to do.
That's
it's like,
right.
They're like, you're not laughing. You like, I'm like, dude, I'm funnier than you.
But
I just don't talk like that anymore.
So me was when I started DJing at tailgaters. There was this young guy trying to diss me, and I'm like, and I looked at him and said, "Are you ready?" Like, cause I can take it pretty good, but I can give it a really good. Like there's times where I think people almost committed suicide after I was done saying some stuff about them. You know what I mean? Like I destroyed some human beings. You know, like
I think about the time I wasn't there for this, but you told me this, and you were over at like a mutual friend's house, and you used to coach flag football for the girls.
Yes.
Right, and then you had on the coach shirt, and this like I don't know, it was like this pretty girl was like sort of like, why are you wearing this coach shirt? You know, and,
See, I forgot
and
about
then you're like, yeah, because if you don't smarten up, you're gonna be substituted. Right, and that's something I learned from you. I learned something from you. That you don't have to have $100 shirt to be cool or to get people to like you or to have like a pretty girlfriend, stuff like that. I learned that from you because nobody else was doing it. Everybody else.
So I wasn't cool and had the ugly girlfriend, from my understanding.
I bet the thing is you gather people around you. We have good times and stuff like that.
It was something I had to learn real quick. You know damn well you weren't going to drive the nicest car, or damn well knew that you weren't going to wear the most expensive shirt. So it was like, fuck it, grab what you have, rep it, be the best as you can be, and fuck it.
Yeah.
Someone has something to say, make sure you rip them apart. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
throw it back at them, then they'll stop saying shit. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, I think you were the king of that, and you know what? I still think of that. That's a real life lesson, man. Just because a lot of people feel this pressure. Oh, I got to get these shoes. I got to get the, and you know what? I can't speak to your upbringing, but I mean, I had everything sort of handed to me. I kind of get what I
we kind of hated you for it.
you know, and like it was maybe a little bit different for you. You know,
Well, this is the only kid that got suspended and came back with fresh gear. Remember that? We're like, what?
yeah. You
we're
never
like-
let me live that down.
No, that was like grade 5. We still don't let it down.
What was it? We were playing ball, and I had a Nokia cell phone, and Adam comes out with a Samsung or a Sony that wasn't even on the market. I'm like, go
Wow.
fuck yourself.
This guy had a pager. Then when I called, there was a human being on the other end. I was like, hello? They're like, hello? Is that what you want me to type? I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing here.
Let's not talk about Patriots. You know where we go with when we mention Patriots.
I know. That's
What happened,
Nothing.
Carlos?
No, we can't say.
Yes, we can.
No, we can't.
say.
I'm on a podcast, so I can say what I did. Carlos was there.
I was not. I just heard about this. It doesn't matter.
You had a pager.
I
Eh?
had a pager.
Well, yeah.
Uh-oh.
You want to hear the story?
But my McDonald's paid for it.
What, $7? You must have screwed them good. You want to hear the pager story, Carlos? Should we tell him?
No, don't tell me.
Well, if he's not
Well,
super
we'll keep it
comfortable
for that person whenever he comes on the podcast again.
No. He's not going to listen to this one.
I think so.
You think?
Yeah, let's just
Well,
save
with
it.
Adams on it, yeah, he'll probably listen to it.
Yeah, let's just save it.
We could keep rolling without it. Look at him; he's looking down.
I know. Look, he's looking worried. Dude, the joke's been done on him. He can't redo the joke on you now.
No. We
All
know.
right.
What
So,
about some Carlos stories? Huh?
what about some
'Cause
Carlos?
here's the thing about us: like anybody that knew us,
Yeah.
know that we're characters. Like
Yeah.
in our, like I'm still a character. Like people find me like weird, and you know, like the same thing with Carlos. Carlos is a really weird guy.
Even when it killed me.
Carlos said that people in high school want to shoot him.
First on the
know
list.
where-
First on the list.
Okay, would you have thought? Who would you have thought would have been the first person?
Between
to do
Mark
it?
Blow.
Mark Blow.
You think Mark Blow? You think he'd be the first to kill?
Yeah, because he was you like him, but sometimes he's annoying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I do love the guy.
You
but-
do. Yeah. With him, it was from one extreme to another. You love the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember one time he tried to fuck with like writing on my shirt, and I turned around and I grabbed my pen and I marked it all over his face. You know, because you know I'm sometimes the guy that you do a little, I do a lot. Like you fuck
Yeah,
with me,
yeah.
I go over and I turned around. The teacher hated him so much that the teacher turned around when I did it. And once I was done, he goes, "You done?" I said, "Yeah." And he just moved on with the class, like nothing happened. Like you know how much like Mark's like, "What the fuck?" Pen all over his face, you know, like it's great. Yeah. So even the teachers probably felt the same way about him. But you think Mark Blow would be the first one to get shot?
Well, no, he's among them. You know, definitely. I don't know about getting shot. Like you know, like yeah, it's a sensitive topic for a lot of folks.
You
but-
know.
I got two people that said they would shoot me first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
I got no idea. 'Cause I
See,
never
see
met
that's
them.
what I said. I didn't really understand why.
Well, I mean, maybe they had run-ins with you or something.
I don't remember that.
But you weren't like you weren't really like a jerk. You didn't really go to where.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
You know, were they women or something?
We have one woman. Well, one of them.
Okay.
We got to get them on the podcast. I want to hear this.
Somebody I know married her.
Oh no.
He's just like, that motherfucker would have been the first if I ever did a Columbine. I'm like, what the fuck? Why me?
It kind of, you know what? It kind of made me feel good when he said that. I was kind of relieved. I was like, cool. I might not have been the first to go.
Fucking second.
I know some people that I tormented pretty well.
That name that Adam dropped.
I didn't. Well, yeah, but see, we don't know the Mark Poe scenario at Sauce's party. You're blaming me for something that I'm blaming you for something.
Just because I said, let's roast the pig. Where's the ketchup?
Yeah, but I didn't get the ketchup.
Oh, you were one of the main instigators too.
I just said the words. I didn't do it.
I still
yeah,
blame
yeah.
him that he poured the ketchup on him. I think it was
Is
him.
this something you guys have covered in the podcast before?
Yeah, I don't know. We try to talk
That
about
was one of the big.
We're still trying to figure it out.
Those are one-
because he goes, I mentioned the ketchup and then you did it. I was like, no, you did the ketchup. So there's a third mystery human being.
Someone got the ketchup.
And him and I are
Jason
blaming.
Lesage. Jason Lesage.
And him and I are blaming each other
We normally
for
didn't
years.
have him, he normally didn't come to the Chino Carlos crowd parties.
That was Sauce's party.
It was Sauce's party.
No, that's why it opened up the door a little bit.
Sauce is going to be coming down this summer, and we want to interview him about
Oh man.
his whole Australia trip and burnt chairs and house parties and
Clay pots being broken.
Is he still giving her? Yeah.
he's doing all right. He's in stocks and shit. He's doing all right. Last time we saw him, he seems a little calm. He was good.
Oh, Terry Bizarre just.
Oh my God, is he listening
His
to our
Twitter.
podcast? He's listening to our podcast.
Oh, this is live?
No,
Oh.
but one hell of a coincidence.
We'll tell you off air.
So Adam, you've done one thing that was like I did some asshole things.
Oh God.
Yeah. There's a video that you and Jamie
Oh,
made.
yeah.
That was mean.
Yeah, it was bad. You know what? I always.
But you admitted it right away. Once it was done, I think that really affected you right away.
buddy, that ruined my life, man.
You did
Yeah.
you did that, and then right away I'm like, let me watch it, and you're like, no.
Yeah.
Like it was something that would instantly clicked in you that you were just like, I shouldn't have went this far. It wasn't the worst thing on earth, but it was bad.
Yeah, you know what? I think what was so bad about it was like sometimes like people don't know how they are until you see yourself on a video.
That's a fact.
Like
Ooh,
there's some.
fuck, you should have told me that. I would have recorded you when I was dragging your ass up to your apartment.
Oh, you dragged his ass to the apartment too? So I did that. Because I did that
Well, here's the point.
twice.
See, I was sober at this moment. I might have been a little bit buzzed, but I was sober, and that's something that I planned to do. And I like at first it was kind of like, okay, let's do it. Let's do it lightheartedly, and then it just got dark. You know what I mean?
Because sometimes it just when you're in it, you're just in it for the.
And I'll tell you, man, like the first time that thing was produced, we watched it. I had this girlfriend that we just started going out.
Yeah.
And like she was not impressed with it at all. Like, and I was not either. Like, I had almost like a mini breakdown over them. I'm like,
He did.
What kind of a you know what I mean? Like,
What the fuck you do?
I swore from.
He interviewed the most interesting person in high school.
Yeah, me and Jamie Cood, we compiled like 100 stupid questions. A lot of them like loaded questions, gotcha questions. Just trying to make.
Hold on a
fool
second.
out
Who'd you
of-
interview?
Hold on a sec.
I have one name. Who'd
No,
you
I
interview?
just before we hadn't mentioned any names, if we decide to or not,
bad.
it doesn't matter. We don't have to bring up names. But like, was this an after-school project too?
Yeah.
Like, you guys focused more on this video than you guys did in schoolwork.
Oh yeah. There's
on,
no,
was it
there's
a
not
girl?
one single
No.
project I did at school that got more attention than this.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
I knew he was affected by it when I was like, okay, cool, let me see it. And he's like, no.
Was it the Asian kid?
No.
Oh.
What Asian kid? Why are you stuck on these Asians? Is it the one that fucked the guy in the store? What Asian are you talking
probably.
about? Which Asian are you-
You know what? I'm kind of glad it happened because it showed me, like really.
And it was at a point in our lives that, if you
And
continued on that path, it would have been.
I know, and I approached the guy after. I'm like, you know what, man? Like, what I saw in myself is like, it's the worst. And I'm like, I apologized to him. I'm like, look, like, I'm never gonna do anything like that again. Because I was affected. See, because. Man, it really it's smashed
I
me,
do
and
remember that. I do remember.
I decided from that day forward, I am never going to like cross this guy again. I'm always going to try to build him up. Even today, I think about it. I'm like, I don't know which kid in Ottawa suffered more by his classmates and bullying and stuff like that, like than that guy. And I was part of that crowd. You know what I mean? So were you guys.
I didn't do
you
anything to him.
Can you write the guy's name?
No.
I didn't do anything to him.
Ever?
No, I witnessed it and I obviously laughed like with everybody else. Like, so I'm just as bad as anybody else. But this guy did not need me on top of like the school.
Who was it?
Don't worry about it.
Just tell me the name.
Oh, shut up.
Man, this is like
That's not. But I'm just talking about when me and Adam was like, that was the first time that I knew there was an incident that he did that I noticed a regret immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Not a giggle, not a laugh hour, not we're gonna drink about and giggle. It was one of those things that he was like, when I said let me see the video, he was like literally Carlos, he was like no. Like he was like, and I was like, damn. Like I thought we would have had these drinks and been on that type of tip. But I do always remember that time. And I was just like, there was something about what you did that was just effective. But I watched it, and it was more comedic than it was cruel. But there was a cruel line that was passed.
Were you trying to make him look gay?
No, like. Some shit focused on his pants being ripped on the bottom, and they made him do push-ups, and then they were bigging him up on, like, oh, you're this and that, da-da-da, and, and it was actually kind of working, because, like, you and Jamie were pretty much influential people in high school, too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't that it was just two, but it was the first time ever. Carlos, I see this tape, like, I'm asking him, well, let me see this tape, like, I want to laugh, and he's, like, literally, like, no, and I was just like, it was like...
I was so ashamed of it.
Yeah,
I was so paranoid about it. And I was thinking, this is going to... If, like, I become, like, a politician or something one day and this gets out, like...
that's
like,
true. No, I see your point.
And like
You
sometimes that
I
idea...
with the person who has the video.
I don't know who
You
has
know
that
what?
thing to
I don't...
How much is it worth to you?
I'm over it, man, because I'm not that guy anymore. I'm not that guy. And, like, not only did I do a 180 then... Really, even that 180 wasn't good enough. Like now, now that's
hold on, because I remember carrying your ass after high school.
I was what you would call.
Hold on,
like
I want to hear your story about carrying him because I don't remember. Do you remember this guy carrying him?
It's possible.
I think I ran into him downtown or something like that.
Me and this guy we used to go downtown together and never leave together. Right?
Yeah, we were always separate.
Ever.
It's because we had our own show. It was like you had your own TV show upstairs, I had my own TV show downstairs. Like we collide in the middle.
Okay, there's this one time Adam Cregan goes to Elgin, right? And he fights. I hear the story. He fights these two giant guys, and he beats the shit out of them, right? And everyone's like, "Yo, Adam, turn around, duck, punch, boom, boom." And everyone's all proud of Adam. And I see Adam like, "Oh, he beat up shit this guy." And Adam, with the most honest look in his face, is like, the fuck, I had no choice. I was scared. But like some of them make us look like heroes, but really it's like no one's there to help us and you're stuck in a jam. We do what we have to do to like, get out of there alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people are like, oh my God, you're such a hero. And deep down you're like, you're a coward. I couldn't even hold one guy down. We had to do what we had to do. I remember that.
Yeah, we had a lot of those situations.
Big
Me
time.
and you definitely.
Big time, man.
I don't think we really let each other down, but the thing is we were often in our own rooms.
The closest time that me and him almost went home together is when we all went out on my birthday and we bumped into a bunch of people outside and me and you gave each other that look like we had no choice to fight.
Yeah.
I think these guys are hostile. Like believe it or not, we were trying to talk ourselves out of that one.
Yeah, and normally we did actually.
And I was like, no, and you could tell like one or two were okay, and the other group was like, no. And I looked to my right, and Adam looks on my left, and we didn't even say anything. We just turned around and we just start dummying human beings.
Yeah, we felt the tipping point.
Yeah,
you can tell
because it was like it's now or never. Like it was one of those like holy shit, like because they were such a group with so much pride, like oh we got these guys. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh my God, this is it. Like we have to throw down right now. Like
and that was the first time me and you actually in a Royal Rumble were like partners. You know?
Oh yeah, that's true. Because we always have it's true because we always had our separate.
We always had our own.
And that one, he looked at me and we didn't even say anything. He was just left to right, and then we turned around and then fists just went flying.
Yeah,
it was a great time.
It's crazy, man.
That was fun.
Yeah, and that's another dynamic of my youth too that I think about. It was really, it really forms you, right? The first time you get into a fight on the street with a stranger, you can live or die. You don't know if he's got a knife. You don't know if he's got people coming. You don't know what's going to happen.
I agree.
And there's a lot of fear there. For me, here's the thing. You experienced your fights completely differently than I did. I think we were both good fighters. I don't think today, I would be a good fighter because I don't know jiu-jitsu. And, a guy who's 120 pounds, who's a pinner, could break my arm. And before, you could be strong and tough and just fight and win, right? Whereas now...
Lately, the latest scrap I got into was with a bouncer at Tailgaters. Did I ever tell you this story? Yeah. The guy's being a jerk off to my manager. I said, don't buddy. And he comes around the bar, and I haven't went in a fucking scrap in a long time because fucking we're old, right? And he's coming right at me, and I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, he's not that crazy to do that. And he fucking comes over, and I said to him, he puts his hands on me, he's going down. Guy comes, chest bumps me, pushes me, 2-3 punches, 5, 6, 7 uppercuts later. This guy has blood everywhere. Guys think, but Adam, I'm still telling you, I felt decades younger after doing that. There's something about it. I remembered why we used to get in so many. There's an adrenaline rush that you'll never get doing anything.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why people are like, yo, you want to go on a roller coaster? I'll be like, no, you want to fight 10 guys? Like, you know what I mean? Because there was one of we lived that was technically my drug on a thing. I wouldn't let a guy on our street, bully us around or treat us like shit. I'd be like, nah, let's wipe the floor with this guy. And better me than the other guy. I'm not going to shoot someone or stab them. You know what I mean? I could whoop you and fucking shake your hand after. It's not a big deal. But I found the older I got, it's like there was something in me missing that I need. I don't know. Like there's that I'll never get that rush again. And when I did that a few years ago, dude, I had a bounce in my step. I felt great. Like it's something, and it's not right. I just can't go around, pulling some fucking.
No, you have warrior DNA. There's no getting around. There's part of you that needs that conflict.
But the best part is now being older. And you haven't, you ever have someone talk a certain way to you and you're like, only if you knew, kid?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Only if you knew.
It happens less, but you know what?
Yeah,
There's still sometimes you're just like.
You get it from the kid at PetSmart?
Which one at PetSmart?
I don't know. They just yell at you, no, dog food is not available.
See, you sort of here's how it happened with me. My first
I'm going to take you outside.
Oh, fuck that.
Because fighting in school is one thing. Fighting in hockey, I was always in a fight in hockey. Not always.
Would we be arrested if there was like the cell phones that they were today?
Oh yeah,
we got away with that.
Our lives would not be able to get kicked
I agree.
off because
I agree.
The friends who weren't fighting would be filming.
All of them, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think a lot of people really understand our experience because we actually jumped into a situation where we shouldn't have walked out and won.
Sure enough.
And I'm not making that up.
No, I totally
lived
agree.
that. I know what it's like to crack a bunch of heads. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I know what it's like to.
I'm at a point in my life when I meet people, I don't even bring those stories up unless someone else wants to, because some of the stuff seems so outrageous sometimes that it's like, if I said it out of my own mouth, I'm going to be considered a lie. Yeah. I asked a kid one time, a bouncer at a bar, how many fights have you been into? He's like, 5. He's like, you? I'm like, hundreds?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, 5? That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday somewhere. It was like, you know what I mean? But fighting at the park, playing basketball, fighting at the club. Like, I was like 5? Like, and don't get me wrong, I'm kind of happy the violent scenario went down. Well, now there's more shooting, so I don't know if I'm right or wrong in that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But
it's a different world.
But now that we went back and we talked about our past a little bit and how fucked up we all technically were. Carlos wasn't so fucked up though.
Oh yeah.
You fucked up, Carlos?
The thing is, you ever bump into him at one of the bars or the clubs or something? He's always into some controversy. You know what I mean?
Wow, he's blaming me.
Yeah,
but like I go around hitting people in their backs.
I wasn't even gonna bring it up, but he often will misremember what actually happened.
Oh,
and then he'll tell you about it. You're like,
okay, please.
And he's the sober one.
Please. I'm the sober one.
Okay, we'd be both drunk. Okay, and then he comes up with a complete different recollection of events.
Wow, you're hilarious.
And all the time, right? And but the thing is,
I bumped into him twice at a bar, and once I got kicked out.
And I went with you because he was getting thrown out of a bar because he was acting like a jerk, and somebody was going to kill him.
He is a jerk when he drinks.
And maybe these are the people who have those incidents because high school Carlos was pretty cool. Right, but maybe drunk Carlos at Willie's or something was a dink.
But okay, I have another sober person that was with me at that club that you just mentioned that will vouch the story straight up honest.
So you were not getting thrown out of the club. I was.
Oh, well, one at the Willie's, you were hitting somebody.
Okay.
For no apparent reason.
Okay, what about the one that was Liquor Dome?
Liquor Dome, you were hitting the guy from the back, and I was trying to get a drink. And the guy kept on looking at me going, why are you hitting me? I'm going, what the fuck you talking about? Okay, and you kept on going at it at the guy.
That was just me bugging people and, like, having fun. But I remember
that's the same night.
He was getting thrown out, and the bouncer was throwing him out, and the bouncer was getting extra rough with him. So I was like, "Sir, if you're throwing him out, you're throwing me out too."
Yeah.
He said,
And I got in the middle. Okay, I probably didn't say "sir." You know, it was kind of like I was challenging the guy a bit. You know, but I'm just.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay, I don't remember the exact verbiage, and I can guarantee it wasn't "sir."
No.
It wasn't "sir." And then we got thrown out, and we were in a hallway area for a while. Then we went out the back.
The Carlo,
and then
the
me
bouncer,
and you hung
the,
out
the bouncer,
outside.
yeah, we went to get pizza. The bouncer, Carlo, said they would have kicked your ass if I didn't tell him to come and not to do it.
Oh,
I don't know. I kicked
that's
a
a
lot.
convenient memory where you're the hero.
No, I'm not saying that I'm the hero. But I knew that bouncer a long time ago, and he was the head bouncer there.
Carlos, you're getting thrown out, and I went out with you because I didn't want you to get like lambasted in the parking lot. So I
Well,
went with you.
if you guys are happy,
and
I
then
don't-
you started a fight with like one of my other best friends in the parking lot, and then I actually took the other guy's side because he was being a dink. He had,
Maybe you think
I had to make a choice. Okay, I got two friends. They're about to fight.
And who's the dink?
And he's being a dink.
Yeah.
Right.
You're being a dink?
So
Freezer.
there's two Carlos Dinks in one night, and all of a sudden he's helping me out with this bouncer that has the same name as him.
Well, I beat up a lot of those bouncers, so it makes you happier.
But like, I mean, I'm not trying to turn it into a conflict here, Carlos.
Yeah.
But
I'm
it's
like,
just
hey, you're the one that brought it up. I was never going to bring that up. You're the one that hits people
Do
for
you
no
think-
fair reason.
I did do a lot of stuff like that, like just mischievous, like kick somebody when they're walking by, and like
Yeah, they go hard
don't be
behind
around
their
somebody.
do you think Willie's puts shit in their drinks?
I stole
well, I
their
don't
tips
think-
one night.
Because Willie's was the only club that I would drink upstairs and then stand by the stairs and giggle because I didn't know how to get back down. Every single time.
I put,
See, I had that experience, but I was also smoking weed and drinking.
Nah,
and
I
I
fucked
put
it.
my credit card there for one night for a tab.
Yeah.
They fucking blew it up. So next time I went there, I took their tips.
Yeah.
Paid my credit card.
That's what. Good for you. Good for you.
Okay.
That place was just hypnotizingly weird, man. I don't know.
It was like stepping into another world. Yeah.
Like I walk in there, it's like I was floating already. It was fucked
I
up.
remember crossing paths with you at that bar one time, and then we just started laughing without communicating any other thing than
See?
laughter.
Why? Will,
He was
For
hitting
like
somebody.
35 minutes, and you weren't a drug user.
But
You
see what
weren't
I'm trying to
even
say? Like
smoking
I
weed,
was,
nothing.
I think I was fucked up on something. I was always that place. I was always on a different dimension, dude.
Yeah.
I remember one time Mark Plo was like, "Yo, some guy wants to fucking beat the shit out of me. I just banged some girl in your van." You remember that?
I do.
And then I'm like, and I remember being like, "Yeah." And 9 out
Was
of
that
10.
a grab party for somebody? I remember. I
it-
think it was a Pius grab party.
No. It was he scored. He had the best week of his entire life.
Yeah.
He scored a touchdown playing football on defense.
Yeah.
He went to the bank machine and got like free money, and he got laid. All on the same night, actually, same day. Then he comes up to me and he goes, "You know me, 9 out of 10." I'm like, "Who's fucking with you?" I was so fucked up. I was like, "Yeah, dude, I don't know what to do." Like, I couldn't even get downstairs. I remember being like, yeah."
Yeah, I remember he told me the same, and I walked with him, and I was just like, Mr. Expert, right? I was so dry I couldn't even see. You know, the one eye open kind of thing, and like a little spotlight he got. And then like I just sort of walked with him like all through these like rocks.
Were you there when I fought those bouncers there?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I was already thrown out. I think.
Oh yeah,
Oh, you were what?
This is this.
I was already
I
thrown
remember
out.
that one. That was the one.
No, I'm not even going to dispute. I was getting thrown out of bars all the time.
I do you know what I remember that night? Because
was acting like a jerk
you
all
got
the time.
you got thrown out. I remember your side of the, I remember your story, and then you called your dad to pick you up at a Couche-Tard.
Oh yeah.
Remember? And then,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a Couche-Tard. It was called something else.
Yeah, I was so drunk.
So your
I
dad's
had-
somewhere else, and the cop came because he wouldn't get out of the store.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Do you speak any French?" And he said, "I didn't care to learn."
Yeah.
You probably
remember
called
that
him
Guy was
drunk.
get- but the thing is, the guy was getting all hostile about me not being able to speak French, and I'm like,
See, me, what happened was I remember, I drank beer like an animal, and landed on my shirt, so I took off my shirt, and I had a beater underneath. And some guy showed me, he's like, "Put your shirt back on," but they didn't have security shirts back then.
yeah.
So I'm
yeah.
like, no. He does it again, and, all out brawl kicks out, you know what I mean? But, yeah, those Willie's
They
was,
basically jumped you, I think.
yeah, it was pretty fun, though. It was a good time. I'm always up for that. But, yeah, no, it's, those were the back in the days. But, so Cregan,
Okay.
we were all fucked up back then. Shitload of fun, some highs, some lows. We did it all. Now, where's the change? When was the day that you said, "I'm going to church"?
All right.
What was there a scenario? Was there was there a day you woke up, you're like, "Fuck it, this is it"?
Let me finish one of the things about fighting. 'Cause
Okay.
Fighting is like, it became like the most important thing about me.
Okay.
You know, to me anyway.
Well, from where we were from and where we lived, it was important to have that without being like, you know, a part of a super gang, or because you have to understand that my rep got me through a shitload of fucking heat and people, and some of the, you know, not mentioning names of any sort, like, you know, that were like, yo, you know, this guy's good. And it's because of all the shit I did back then.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I also did it pretty legit. You know what I mean? I never went out of my way to, you know, find you later, you know, destroy your house.
Right here, right now.
I was always, whatever
Right
I
here,
did it. I did my
right
pride,
now.
and I left it there. So I understand what you're saying about the whole fighting being important at the time.
This, I needed to create that as a part of my identity because I didn't really actually feel secure.
Okay.
So, like you guys might even remember, I got all these Jeet Kune Do books and Bruce Lee books, and I studied all these martial arts and all that stuff. And I just got my mind like filled with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then my first real street fight, when I got to use this, it was a turning point for me because it worked. Like, I really beat the brakes off of two guys that I shouldn't have been able to beat the brakes off of. Like the whole, and plus it was like in front of like, remember where Sin was, and you know,
The Elgin Street Diner, the window.
there was
I remember,
like a crowd of people cheering.
tons there, yeah.
You know, and like, it was just one of those things where I was like, this is what I want now. You know, this is, you know, not only did it feel good to win, but like something happened inside of me. Even though I sort of hated a lot of the experience, but I was also good at it, right? So there's a lot of tension, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of nervousness. Like I hated the moment leading up to it, and then when the fight happened, everything's slow mo.
I love it. I know.
It felt like home. This is like one of the only places I could function. I wasn't the best student, but like when I'm fighting two guys, like everything's slow mo.
I have no idea. I don't understand it either. It's,
you know what I mean?
I don't.
And then I would also went into a severe like guilt thing for 2 weeks after, even though it was like two things at once. It was like I felt guilty, but I also liked the power, and I liked the way that it changed things for me because it did change my reputation. Because I got punked a few times before that, and then I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's never going to happen to me again.
I agree.
Right? And so I need to go and find the power. And so I think that's what happened. And it became really rooted in my identity. And then my thoughts become violent a lot, and you know, that kind of thing. And so that was a major part of who I was. And I don't think a lot of people understand. A lot of people think they're tough because they're angry.
Oh, I see.
I didn't think I was tough, but I was good at breaking people's heads. You know what I mean? Like I'm not making this up. You saw me do it. Like I'm not. Like, if I was talking to somebody who wasn't there, they'd be like, oh, he's just talking. Well,
True.
no.
Yeah, no. I know the feeling.
I hurt a lot of people. You have hurt a lot of people. I know what it's like to hurt somebody. I know what it's like to want to hurt them, not care if they kill you. Right? And just throw caution to the wind and let's just jump in and see what happens.
Let's see what happens. I agree. Yeah.
You know, and there was something about that I liked.
Trust me.
And hated, as a fact.
I didn't hate it.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, it was weird because you processed these events differently than I did.
Yeah.
And I would look at you and I'd be like, that's different. I don't know if you looked at me and thought, why is he so weird? And I was like, why? But I just thought we were different about it.
Yeah.
But we were both good at it. We didn't fight each other, thank God. 'Cause that would have been bad. I think he'd win, by the way.
That's just more experience.
9 times out of 10, he'd win. If I had a lucky day, you never know. You know?
Yeah. Hey, when it comes to fighting, everything sometimes is lucky, bro.
Hey, man. So that's
Carlos
kinda
beat
how it
up
goes.
people.
Yeah, Carlos, man. Carlos had some major underdog wins back in the day. Eh?
If I had money, I would have been rich, bro.
Yeah, no, man. He's got my respect because of that. Because you know what, people didn't see it coming, but the guy's an animal.
That's exactly what it is. It's you got to do what you got to do.
Look at his. The thing is, he's built for it, but people miss it because he's nice and he's jovial and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But he's got like big knuckles, big hands, big
Yeah,
shoulders.
true,
Right?
true.
If he launches the right ball on you, you're going down probably.
Yeah, and that head's big. You're not gonna knock it out.
Yeah.
Can't knock out your
Yeah,
head.
no.
This is a big target.
Yeah, you got him in the gut. Well, now the gut.
No, that could just sinks in right in.
Oh, see, this guy's
So
starting.
these were some of the things that I was rooting my identity into, and also with the alcoholism. I liked the idea of being known as an alcoholic, as pathetic as that sounds.
because it was cool back then.
Because it was cool at first, and then it was like, because I got drunk at school for the first time, and like I went through like a real quiet period, and then I got drunk, and then I was talking to everybody, and the next day everybody's like, yeah, you were drunk, and it was just like, this is awesome, this is gonna be my life now, you know. So I was like, I'm gonna do this all the time.
You broke someone's heart when you were drunk too.
Okay, please don't. There's so many things we can dab on. We don't have to bring up everything.
It just comes to my mind. I'm sorry.
Okay, so that's kind of how, and then the weed thing, right?
Yeah.
And none of that stuff was really helpful, because I liked to smoke weed and think about philosophy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Not really in an academic way, but
No.
kind of like, dude, kind of far out, Let's think about how this works, But that's kind of how that was, and then, yeah. Underneath it all, I have to credit my mom. It's Father's Day, but sorry, like my dad didn't tell me about it. When I was a little kid, my mom told me the day I was born, like something happened, and she knew that she was supposed to name me Adam, and that there's a God, and then He's everywhere. She's not a theologian. She was like, "There's a God. He's everywhere, and He wants you to do something with your life." That's all she got out of it. Because apparently, like on the day I was born, there was like, on the way to the hospital, there was this huge, thunderstorm.
Okay.
And like, so, but it
I was
doesn't
going to
always,
say you were born in July.
I know. It's like,
it doesn't always happen here, but it was so severe that, when people pull over on the side of the road 'cause you can't see.
Okay.
Like if you live in Florida, it happens all the time. But if you live in Ottawa, it happens maybe once a year. And it happened on the way to the hospital. And my mom was all afraid and stuff like that. And then it all cleared up all of a sudden. She saw a double rainbow, which she never had seen before in her life.
what does that mean? Because you know what that means where I'm from. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah. That's not what it means, but I'm sure of that. My wife's pretty sure too, but yeah, out of that experience,
You
like
should get double rainbow tattoos.
yeah. And so out of that experience, she
Please do.
she made sure to tell me as I was a young child, like, God has a purpose for your life, and so it was always rooted in the back of my mind. And, I went to Catholic school, I heard all the Bible stories, and I believed them all. I believed in Jesus. And here's the problem. I believe in Jesus, and I'm out in the bar looking for fights, drunk and stoned, and, relationships are a mess, and, not respecting my parents, and I'm making my parents' lives miserable. Like when your kid comes home drunk and puking and fighting, and, you have to call the police on your own son, me.
Oh yeah.
And
I dropped you off. I remember. Yeah.
So there's a lot of those things we can talk about.
I know what
those
you mean.
things, those aren't things that I'm actually proud of. Those
Of course
are things
not.
I was deeply ashamed of, but the thing is, I didn't have any power to break the addiction once it was there. I was an alcoholic, and that's all there was to it.
And that's my curiosity. That's why I think after bringing, because I want people to know, like, I don't want you to come here and be like, okay, I believe in, Jesus, and they'll be like, oh, this guy's been great from day one. I want people to know.
No, it was a
There
total
was a
train
mess
wreck.
before.
It was a total train wreck.
That's what I want people to know.
yeah.
That's what I wanted. That's why I wanted to talk a bit about. You know what I mean? Because there's probably more people in common with you
Yeah.
than there would be like a straight edge kid from day one. Because then, what could you relate to that guy?
Man, think about it. It's Father's Day, man. I fought my own dad. I beat him up, and he had to call the cops on me. And I was so ashamed of that, man. I didn't get suicidal over it. I never had to struggle with that, but I definitely felt
an
like I
embarrassment,
deserved to
Yeah,
die.
yeah, there's an
I
embarrassment.
deserved to die for that. And I felt that, man. And like the way I broke my dad's heart that day. I called him and he was like, man, I don't have a son. I don't have a son anymore. It's just like that kind of stuff rips your heart away. Because I didn't want a lot of this, but I was just stuck because I was so powerless as a kid and stuff like that. I don't know if I had like some problems or something.
No, it's true.
But like, why did I feel the need to go down these roads the way that I did? You know, and completely. How many nights would I leave my house and really, even though I was angry at my mom, I would say, "Mom, I love you," just because I wanted that to be the last thing she heard from me.
True enough.
Because
That's fair. That's
I
fair.
wasn't sure I was coming back home.
Yeah,
And then she can write it in the newspaper. Oh, the last thing he said to me was, "I love you." That was my idea. That was my life.
A voicemail.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
And so what ended up happening was, I always believed in Jesus. And I even get drunk and talk about Jesus. I probably drove people nuts.
Well, I remember this one time. I went to work. It was I worked at the Business Depot Copy Center after hours. Like it was at the overnight. And you stayed at my house and you had a couple of beers with my pops. My pops next day was like, "I don't want to be a preacher." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
He's like,
that.
He's like, "We talked about it." I was
Bro,
like,
your dad had me crying that day. Your dad had me crying, man.
yeah, he's like, "Yo, man, he wants." I'm like, "What the fuck were you guys doing?" They go, "What the hell did I miss?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was legit true. Like it's
Yeah, and so there's a big difference between how I was behaving and what I was doing, and some of the things I believed. And the big difference was I had not encountered God yet.
Oh, okay.
Truly, I experienced miracles getting out of some of the jams we were in. Those were miracles, man. You know, some of the ways I drove my parents' cars and stuff like that as a teenager. Like, I look back and I'm like, you know, that had to be a miracle.
You want to see fast? That's what he says to me one time. You want to see fast?
To this day, I
Carlos,
wonder.
Carlos, I'm in the passenger. I'm going, no! I don't want to see fast.
Fuck yourself. You almost killed me once.
Who?
You.
No, this guy almost killed us. Do you want to know what the best part was? We're stuck in a snowbank, and you know who helped us? A guy on a bike.
In a snowstorm. On a 10-speed. Not even a mountain bike.
Was it the guy that used to fix vacuums?
No.
You remember that guy?
I remember. No, this was like an old guy.
Because he got us out of the thing, he helped us out, and then we got back to the house, and we're like, was there a dude on a bike?
Yeah. Dude, I look back at that, and I'm like, was that an angel or something?
Is that not weird?
Because
No, that was just an idiot riding a bike. Hey, one New Year's Eve, I had to go to a party, and I fucking went on rollerblades because I missed the bus.
In a blizzard?
It was pretty icy.
So you did it in the winter?
I went on rollerblades. I said, fuck it. I gotta go to the girl's house. That's all I said.
Interesting.
And what was wrong with your fucking shoes? You thought rollerblading would have been
It was
easier.
when we were living from like up in the beginning of Hunt Club.
Yeah.
And it was around Carms, past Carms.
Okay.
Like off a side.
Yeah.
It was past that. It was like a block over. So I had to go over there for New Year's
Good
Eve.
for you.
And I'm like, fuck it. I missed the bus.
Good for you.
I think I could get there faster rollerblading.
Yeah, if you think.
That's
If you
the
think.
smartest thing. But
Yeah, that's the whole point of the podcast. Nothing we've done is
that's what I'm
smart.
saying, like this guy helped us push the car out of the snow.
But we
and I
didn't-
drove it into. I wasn't even my car. I drove it into a snowbank trunk.
You want to see,
Right?
want to see
this guy
fast?
helped us. Like he didn't even have
Where-
a problem with the
but-
fact we were drunk. I had a beer in my hand.
Don't
And Joey's
bug.
like, put the beer down. Someone's gonna see you.
But what bugs me is like I don't even understand where we got in the conversation. Do you want to see fast? You like switched on me,
Yeah, and that's the problem. I was not.
and I'm yelling, no!
I was not a responsible
were you
person.
mentally stable?
I was drunk. I was. Here's the thing. I did a really bad thing. It's called drinking and driving. And that's why you don't drink and drive, because you make stupid choices.
You become irrational. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
was not actually impaired, like in terms of like I could see. I wasn't seeing doubles or anything like that. But the thing is, when you're drunk, you don't make the best decisions. You might feel like
we weren't going far. So that the deal was let's go from like Greenboro Community Center back to my house to grab something and then go back. And we grabbed it and we come back and on the way back and it was like just the curve and everything else. And
Well, the thing is, I didn't know. You know how to fishtail with the e-brake? I didn't know how to do that yet. I didn't know, and there was no e-brake. So I just thought if you drove, cranked the wheel, it would do that.
Yeah.
And so that was the first time I tried that experiment, and it failed.
and I had to be in the car.
turned like 1 degree and went straight forward into a snowbank.
But yeah, so you're destroying cars. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's basically like this is something that would happen on any given day, like
Yeah.
the way we were going.
Yeah.
So like completely irresponsible, right? It wasn't even my stuff, and I was told, Anyway, the point is, like I think we laid the groundwork pretty good on like what was going wrong.
Yeah. I know. That's
But
exactly.
I really did believe that Jesus, of course, he's the Son of God. I full-heartedly believed that, and he would move, in times, even when I was drunk in a stony, like he'd help me out of really bad situation. I'd pray, And anyways, I was kind of like done with the Catholic Church just because, like, you're watching the news and you realize, okay, this person molested, a bunch of kids at this church.
Yeah, that can turn
And here's what
anybody
the
off.
church's solution was:
That's
move him
right.
to a different city and not tell anybody about it, and he does it again. And so he's re-victimizing people,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I'm thinking, okay, it's not just one bad guy. There's a systemic problem here.
There is.
They're covering up the crimes of the priests, and they're moving them to new places where they can also commit further crimes. It doesn't make any sense. Once a person is a sexual predator like that, they're not going to be able to stop it.
Yeah.
So you can't put them around children. You can't put them in positions of trust anymore.
Yeah.
And they continue to do that. And, to be like a Catholic priest, you have to be highly educated. So you'd have to know this. These aren't dummies. These aren't knuckleheads. These are like brilliant academics. These aren't, and so their decision making was something that, like, at 16, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I think
well,
they have to go to psychology school and stuff like that. Be like a shrink.
I think you
and
need
shit
like 2 degrees at
Yeah.
least, and to start getting, but like
'Cause
most of them are
you
like,
do have to counsel people.
yeah, I think most of the times you're
It's taking off their pants.
doctorate level, before you can become a priest. But the point is, like, that really like threw me off at age 16. Right or wrong, I was just like, okay, I'm done with Catholic Church. I'm not a Catholic anymore. I was just sitting on my living room couch. I'm like, that's it for me, because you guys are part of the problem. It's not just one bad guy. Yeah, if it was one bad guy, you can figure it out, right? Yeah. But it's just like, you moved him. Why you? But it's not like it's not even that happened once. It happened all over America. It happened all over the world.
It was super common. Yeah.
And anyway, it
ended up being a joke. It's a joke of like, oh, like
I don't even like telling people I'm in ministry anymore. This is the first thing they think of. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, it's just like,
yeah.
But it happens in politics too.
What the fuck are you talking about?
yeah. There's sexual predators in politics, but here's the problem.
There's sexy predator in my wallet.
What is your expectation of a politician?
To fuck me.
Yeah. My expectation of a politician is to tell me what I want to hear, get my vote, and then see you later, chump.
That's right.
Right? And so I'm stuck with.
Yeah.
I said chump.
Oh, same thing.
and then so you know what? You end up voting for the person you think is the least worst. And if you think that your politician is good, you're really out to lunch.
That's right.
And when I think people are naturally distrusting of politicians, and they should be. And if you're not, you end up with, dictators, you end up with tyrants, you end up with stuff like that, and they become godlike to the people, and it's just, atrocities occur. But the point is, when you're looking at somebody who's a representation of Jesus and his church, and that person is a sexual predator, I mean, that's terrible. That to me, like, it was inexcusable. Because I mean, the way we grew up, I don't even know if it's a big deal anymore for a lot of people. But like, if you're a sex predator and you're messing with kids, you're sort of like, you're goof. You're done.
Oh, I agree.
You have no more street credibility. You have nothing. You're like, it's the worst form of like crime.
I agree.
And these people are doing it on a systemic level.
That's right.
It's not one church in one place. It's all over North America, and it's all over everywhere. And so anyways, for that reason, I was done with it.
Yeah,
so I was like, where do I go, right? Because I kind of also thought, like, what else am I going to do? And anyways, what am I supposed to do? Follow the TV preachers and stuff like that? And one time I was watching the TV preachers, and Mom was like, turn that off. They're just trying to get your money kind of deal, right? And so I was like, fine. So I didn't really have much options, So anyways, the point is, the same girlfriend, like, so that I had at the time of, with the whole fiasco with the Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
She beat me in an argument about whether or not I had to go to church. And she never really beat me in any argument. So I was like, okay, in honor of this, I'm going to go and find a church to go to. And so I thought of my friend Jerome's mom.
Yes.
And I thought of her today. It's Father's Day, but I thought of her.
Yeah.
Because this is a woman, like, Jerome is 3 or 4 years younger than me. And so, like, we were a big deal. Like, me and Dane, he's Dane's cousin. Dane's in my grade, right? He's in our grade.
Yeah.
And then his younger cousin comes to school, and he's got a really funny personality, and people like him and stuff. But he's in grade 9, and we're, like, in grade 12. And so he automatically, like, went to the top of the pecking order in the school. So, we got him smoking weed and all this stuff. We're really horrible influences on his life. We really drag him down the wrong direction. I even texted him about that today, And one time I went to his mom. I went to his apartment to eat some food, and we just smoked, a bunch of spliffs downstairs. We went upstairs, and she came home from a prayer meeting. He's like, "Oh no, she's here," and I got paranoid. I'm like, "Oh no, she's gonna come in. She's gonna blast. She's gonna read my mind," And she's like a Jamaican lady, and it's funny because Jerome told me stories like she spoke in tongues. So I was like, "What?" I'm like, "That's in the Bible. Like, how does this even like?" Somebody that does that? And then it's just like another time he was like, "Yo, man, when you left my house, my mom came home and said, which white boy was in the house?" And I was like, oh. So I had this like super fear of his mom, like being this person who could like see through you and all that sort of stuff.
Crazy.
So I thought when she came through the door, I thought I was going to catch a blast.
Yeah, of course.
Here's what she did. She went right into her bedroom, left the door open. And it's like I could see through the wall in a way. And she knelt down beside her bed and started praying for me. She started praying for her kid and started praying for me. And I never heard anybody pray straight off of the heart like that before. I only knew of like Catholic prayers that you read out of a book. Okay. You know what I mean? And I never heard anybody pray out of their heart. And it was like, you could tell it wasn't the first time. Like, she knew who she was talking to. And it was like, I was so high. I was just like, and Jerome's like, let's get the beep out of here. And I'm like, okay. I was too chicken, but really in my heart, I wanted to go and see her. And like, look, I think you need to pray for me. But I was just too chicken.
Yeah.
I was too chicken. And so years later, when I lost that argument, I thought of only her.
Oh, okay.
So I called her up and she was starting to explain to me some of the griefs about her own son and how he's sort of like not around anymore and stuff like that. And I was like, look, do you think I can go to church with you? Like, where is it? And, that sort of stuff. Because I figured she went to a real church.
That was the one off Maryville, right?
Yeah, the one off of Maryville. And so, at this point, it was really it was one of those things where I drove up to the church and I'm like, hey, wait a minute, I'm probably going to be the only white guy here. And I was.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever, but it's just kind of like.
Then he invited me and his dad. So,
so I went in.
Still the only white guy?
I don't go to that church anymore, but I would probably be one of a few. If
Yeah.
Okay. So I went in and they were doing it different. It's not what you're used to as a Catholic, right? They were singing with excellent music, and it was like reggae style too. So I had these old gospel songs, and it was like a reggae flavor to it. And like they kept singing this song, and then something hit me right in the heart, hard. And it's just like, now that I've studied and I've learned, I kept going with what started that day.
Yeah.
I realized I had a vision. At the time, I didn't know it was a vision, but I just saw it was like a movie that happened in my imagination that I wasn't like thinking through. It was just like I saw how my life would change. I saw how my relationship with my mom would change and stuff like that, because I went into the church and this is what was my prayer. I was like, God, I'm past the point of no return. My heart is a stone. It's a rock. There's nothing. I hate my own mother. Like I told him that.
It's starting to get to that point where it's like, it's fucked.
I'm like, I'm done. If there's anything you can do, today's the day. And he did something. Like, and I started bawling in front of a bunch of people I've never seen before.
Yeah.
And I didn't care what they thought.
Yeah.
Right? And I was just like, why don't I care? And it felt like it lasted for an hour.
Because forever we always cared about what people thought, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so and here's the other problem. I had, I actually was watching one of these like television ministries where there were, actually now looking at it, not all of them are bad. Some of them are crazy. Like, we'll send you this special oil.
Could you spot these people now? Like
now I can.
Yeah.
But then I couldn't. And so the problem was I got onto one that went through like line by line and they really had me confused. Right. And so I actually believed heresy. And so, but I went there and I'm like, okay, I've tried everything else. I've tried, all this new age stuff. I tried this yoga stuff. I tried drinking. I tried, find a decent girlfriend. Because I didn't go for when I was on she wasn't like a bad girl. She was like she was a student. She was a grade A student. She was honor roll student.
Yeah.
I didn't want like a lot of the disaster relationships I saw my friends with. Like I just didn't want it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. I liked having like those girls that would be with all the guys in a group. I thought they were great friends. I just didn't see them being really good,
I agree.
in a relationship.
I know.
So I decided not to do that. But anyway, the point is, something happened. That's what happened. I had an encounter with God, and I didn't even know. But it's kind of like, when they think there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and when you die, you go toward the light. Well, that happened to me that day while I'm alive.
Wow.
And that was a day I'd been waiting for my whole life. That's the only reason I made it through some of those nights, in some of those days, and some of those horrible situations I found myself in. I was waiting for that moment, right? So that's where it started. And I said, all right, I'm coming back next week,
Yeah.
And then go a little bit further. And for the next little while, it was okay. He was getting all the junk out of my life, piece by piece, the drinking, the drugs. And at this point, I had started, messing around with cocaine a little bit. Like I wasn't like a cokehead, like steal my mom's TV kind of thing, but I was just like, how long can you handle it without going there? You know what I mean? And so like I was messing around with that from time to time, and I was just like, piece by piece, I stopped all that, right? And then what? Right? Okay, I'm just not a bad guy anymore.
But you made a big move in your life.
Yeah.
You made a big move at one point. You went to Florida, right?
Yeah, I went to Florida. So from that happened in 2002. In September of 2002, I had that encounter and it's called the Church of God of Prophecy. It's on Maryville Road. It's a Pentecostal church. It's mostly Caribbean folks. It was a great place.
Yeah, because I was there when you got baptized.
Yeah, a lot of the guys came out. It was so amazing that you guys came out when I got baptized. And so I went there, and then I kind of saw, hey, you know what? If I stay here, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fulfill the vision that I have for my life.
Okay.
And so my dad was like, why don't you go to Florida? Because we knew of a pastor there. And so I started making plans to go. But that's kind of what changed,
So I remember getting the phone call telling me you were thinking about it, and then you pulled it off.
I met with you and Sauce. and I explained to you what was going to happen, and Sauce was like, "Do it, man. That stuff always works." So I was talking about moving to Florida with someone that I barely know, with no money, with no family there.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
Yeah, and you and Sauce were the only people who encouraged me to do this.
Yeah.
And other Christians who kind of saw that I had a call into ministry and stuff like that, they're kind of like, yes, and then one day no, and then yes, and then no, and it's just like you guys weren't even like going to church with me or stuff like that, and you guys were like, go for it, you know. And I've always remembered that. I got to give them credit because that helped me. Like I needed encouragement from somebody, you know. And so I did make that move. 2006 in August. I jumped on the plane with $100. I spent $15 at the airport eating food. I got there with $85, you know, and
So you get off the plane. Who takes you in? What's how?
well,
Because that's the way I'm looking at it. I'm like,
the arrangement was like it wasn't really like a formal thing. Like looking back, it was like a pastoral internship. It was like I was doing. So I moved into the pastor's house.
Okay.
With his family, and I'm like, this guy knows my background, and he's letting me live in his house with his wife and his daughter.
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like, super living on eggshells. Plus, I'm white, and he's a Jamaican guy, man. You know.
I met him at your wedding, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And so it was really different for me because, like, I mean, I know a lot of black people. Like, a lot of time, like me and you would hang around. Then I'd have like some more, you know, street friends that were more black guys.
It's true.
You know, and like, you know, I could sort of flow in different ways. And the church I was in, like, anyways.
Yeah.
And so it worked. And it was like, okay, I'm the only white guy in this church now, right? And so I really
So you kind of already went through that over here anyway. So
it was like an intense, you know, mentorship because this guy is like a really.
So you went to like a Baptist church?
No, it's like a Pentecostal church, charismatic. If you've never heard of the word charismatic, it's
Sorry, because I was down in Florida and I see a lot of Baptist
there's
church.
there's a lot of churches in Florida. There's like
First
some-
Baptist, Second Baptist.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's tons of Baptist churches. There's tons of Pentecostal churches. But if a charismatic church, it's from the word charisma, which is a Greek word that means gift. And so they believe in the gifts of the Holy Spirit that's talked about in the Bible, like, you know, miracles and healings and, you know, prophecy and stuff like that. And so there's charismatic churches. Those are churches where people practice prophecy and healing
okay.
and miracles and, you know, stuff like that. And it's really, like, if you're not used to it, you're like, well, what's going on here? But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
some really cool stuff happens. And I'm like, I like that. Like, if I'm going to go for it, I want to see miracles, right?
yeah, no.
I like miracles. You know, I like signs and wonders. And so that's kind of how, like, and I lived with him, and I think I really needed a mentor on that level because he was really advanced in his ministry.
Okay.
He was also like a good counselor, and so he could sit down with people and start to really help them through severe issues, and then with prayer, man, people's lives would really turn around.
Because you were in Florida, and I know you guys pulled a trip to Jamaica, right? Was that from Florida?
Yeah.
Like, you were still
Yeah.
living in Florida at the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did 3 trips to Jamaica. The last trip I was by myself, and that's the one where I called you. If you remember,
Yeah,
I called you. I was
yeah.
in Kingston, Jamaica, and I called you. I'm like, man, I was like, I need to talk to somebody from Canada, you know. So I called Joey, and he's like, "What's going on?" I was just explaining what was happening, but yeah, that was a pretty powerful time for me too.
What did you see out there? You said you saw some interesting stuff in Jamaica, right?
Yeah, you know what? Until you go to a different, like you've been to the Dominican, and like you only have preconceived notions of what these places are like, right? And it was like one of the like not spiritual things that I thought was completely blew me away. You'll be driving through like communities
Yeah.
that are like set on mountains, right? So you're whipping around corners and all this stuff. Like, it's really stressful if you're not used to it. Like, I mean, because they're also dodging potholes. There's potholes everywhere. So they're dodging potholes, ripping around a mountain. They're going kind of fast, and you realize the road is slick, and I don't know how good this guy's tires are.
That would have been a good way to learn how to drift.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how long
See,
the
see,
tires
how,
would last there.
see how you're piecing your life together?
Now I can drift, by the way. I can drift like the best of them. But you'd
With
go
his
through and
3
you'd
daughters
hear
in the
like
back.
these hard reggae songs, and then you'd hear some more classical like Bob Marley or Peter Tosh, and then you drive through another community and it's Phil Collins blaring from like 10 gigantic speakers stacked on top of one another, and people out in the street.
I've
dancing.
heard that's what they do. Like their sound is ridiculous. Like they plug right into like the
Yeah.
hydro stuff. I remember talking to a Jamaican DJ. They're like, dude, they go over the top over
Oh,
there.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, so the entire community is going to have to hear this because there's a wall of sound. Like, sometimes 15 feet high.
Yeah, I
With
did hear that.
speakers stacked upon speakers. And it's Michael Bolton, Time, Love, and Tenderness. It's just not what I anticipated.
Carlos's favorite track, man.
Right? And a lot of the folks,
When a man loves a woman.
that's a good one too. Or Kenny G.
Oh yeah.
Really, like I was like, this is amazing.
That's cool.
You know, and so
Is that how they calm people down?
they're just like the people that live there are really more dynamic than I think I was anticipating.
Yeah,
right?
because we all have a thought
They-
about how everything is,
They
right?
have really good TV.
Really?
Bro, I was watching TV. It's like a Seinfeld. You got everything. Everything I liked was on TV. And I was like, they have good movies. It's like they had HBO, and I was like, this is not what I expected at all.
On
you
an
know?
island,
Like,
yeah.
And so that was cool. And the people, what I really liked about the people is they're really good conversationalists. Like they're charming. Like they'll talk to you and stuff like that. And it's not like a lot of times like you'll see like Jamaican folks here and they'll talk and you're like, it's hard to understand them. When you actually go to Jamaica, they can talk beautiful English. And it's like, I wasn't anticipating that neither. You know, it's not like
Because you do
it's not like I expected them all to talk in a local patois, but it's just like I didn't expect beautiful. You know, like it sounds like Britain almost sometimes. You know.
What was,
Yeah.
what was the craziest thing you witnessed in Jamaica?
Well,
I know you witnessed a few things.
yeah.
I remember you telling me, you're like, yo, over here.
Okay, so what I was warned of is don't be afraid of the guy who is like 30 years old and he looks rough and he's got less teeth than he should have and he's got like don't look at that guy even if he's carrying a machete because people walk down the street with machetes.
They tell you to not be scared of that guy.
Say don't be scared of that guy. The guys you gotta watch.
I'm from Nicaragua.
The guys you gotta watch are the fresh-looking 12 and 13 and 14-year-olds. Those are the ones who will kill you.
Wow.
That's what I was told. And
Wow.
so, because those guys have been around, they've got something to lose, right? And when you're 12, 13, 14, the guy might be in a gang, you might have something to prove.
Wow, okay.
So something to prove versus something
Yeah,
to lose,
yeah.
right? And so a guy with a machete has a job. And just, we think of machetes as like, attack instruments.
Yeah, but
that's
for them, it's their tools, right?
it's for farming. So.
Yeah.
So I walked by a bunch of kids and they were like chopping grass on the side of the house, and I was just like, they're like, here, chop the grass. I'm like, and I realized their impression may be of white people that were all soft, and they're all like, third rock from the sun, or nerdy, Anyway, so I realized I better
The Big
not
Bang
project.
Theory.
Yeah, Big Bang Theory. Yeah, that's what I want to say, but it wasn't out yet. But like that idea,
Yeah.
like soft wimps, So I decided I was like, I'm not chopping down nothing. Like, what are you talking about? Gave him like a rough sort of a, impolite response. And so I went to the town for a bit, and because I was supposed to be there looking into like doing some church planting operations. But the thing is, this happened in the summertime, and a lot of the contacts that I had were on vacation. So I had to make best use of my time. So I figured what I would do is hang out at he's a really good friend of mine. He has what's called a cook shop.
Okay.
It's just like a shed on the side of the road, and the guy makes like this beautiful soup. It's
Sweet.
He was making cowskin soup. So day one, I didn't eat it. But day two, I'm like, I got to try this. And I loved it.
Really?
I ate it every day. And I think it improved my strength like 5 times. Anyways, I went there, hung around there, because everybody that comes in, see if they want prayer. So I was just praying for people in the cook shop all day. And it was actually pretty awesome.
Really?
Yeah. And so, like, even some guys, they'd be, like, offering me weed and stuff like that. And I was just like, I'm not here for that, And I'm like, can I pray for you? And then the guy started crying about Jesus, right? So it's kind of cool. That was, like, what I was doing. And then on my way back, I bought some nice fruits because they got beautiful fruit there.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And I'm walking by the same kids with the machetes. And they're like, they circle me this time. And it's like, okay, great. Because, we see you got money because you got fruit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so what about it? She's like, give it to me. I'm like, I'm not giving you nothing. And I'm thinking, the first thought I had was, okay, the old way of doing things. I think of like, that scene in The Bourne Identity where he like beats up people in the stairwell. You didn't watch any of the Bourne Identities?
Yeah, I know what you mean. So you're already planning this, who you're going to kick first and throw this fucking fruit in the face.
And then I thought, okay, I spend the day praying for people. And my first instinct is to like get in the newspaper, missionary or whatever I am, minister attacks a bunch of youth, So I decided, okay, I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to trust you, God, And these guys made some derogatory comment about one of the young ladies that was there. I don't know, she's probably like 14, 15, but she was well developed, let's say. And they're like, you can take this one. And I'm like, I'm not there for that, And they're like, so what are you here for? Because they were attempting to rob me.
Yeah.
Right. And they were circling me with machetes, and I was just like, I'm here to preach the gospel. And every one of them was like something went over them, like a hush, and they each took a step back. And I was like, awesome.
Wow, that's interesting.
So then I went back to the place where I was, and I found each and every one of them on their own, and I gave them the gospel, and I prayed for them. They all accepted Jesus, and they were all crying about Jesus at the end. So that was one of the different ones, right? My way of doing things.
Yeah.
Born identity.
Yeah.
Get in the newspaper, get killed.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's probably what would have happened there. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Or just trust God. It worked out better, So there were so many things like that happened. I had met a lady on the first trip, and on my last trip, she was assassinated by her own nephews. She was a church treasurer.
Holy shit.
She raised these two nephews, but there and in a lot of places all over the world. I was just having this conversation earlier today. There's a lot of property disputes. Like your own family members will kill you over like a 10-foot square piece of property.
Wow.
Right, and that's what happened. They came in, they shotgunned the doors open. They assassinated her in her bed. They were trying to even. I think another woman got shot, and then the kid had to hide in the closet because they were looking for the kid. The kid was talking about they were looking for me. So the kid managed to hide and get away from it. And there was also like a disabled woman that was sort of like living in her own little apartment. They didn't kill her.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah, it was messed up. And so I went to that funeral. And it wasn't really a funeral. There they have what's called like, depends. Not everybody does it, but they have like a 9-night. It's like a lot, like many nights of a wake. And so the whole
You guys do shit like that in Nicaragua, no?
Sure.
No, because I was talking to another Nicaraguan, and they were saying that, like, someone died in the house, and what they do is they just, like, that's where they do the funeral almost. Like, it's like, and there's, like, a celebration around the scenario.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
I'd
something
imagine
similar.
there's a lot of overlaps. What I'm saying landing on you?
You just have the body laying at the house.
Yeah.
And I think for cautionary reasons, you do it for 3 days.
Oh.
Just because of old times. Sometimes they thought the person was dead, but they end up waking up because they were like in a coma or some shit. So to give the time.
Too much tequila, fuck.
But it's similar cultures.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nana was there, and it was pretty intense because like the woman's daughter's there, she's in mourning.
I never experienced one though.
And like these are like church people, but people from the community are there hammered. And so I'm talking to this guy, and he's drunk as a skunk, and he says to me, he's like, white people and black people had a war, and the black people lost because they were hungry, and the white people won because they were smart. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. And then the other guy I was with was sort of like, his reasoning is contrary. And it was just really weird because like there's alcoholics from the community, like here in this church woman's house who got assassinated by her nephews and stuff like that. And so that was a really powerful moment. I got to do some prayer there, and it took off really powerfully. Like a lot of the people who were there to get drunk, because a lot of times like, it's almost like a party in a way.
Okay, it's like a celebration, isn't it? Some sort.
It's still got that dampened mood, but like they're trying to make it a celebration. But it was a horrific thing that happened, and I'm glad I was there, and I was.
Did you not witness some sort of exorcism over there? Something similar to it?
Oh yeah. Dude, like here's another thing about like the kind of ministry I get involved with like it's popular in movies and demon possession and stuff like that, and exorcists and stuff like that. But in the ministry that I was part of, like we did that kind of thing, not in the Hollywood type of way. Like it's not always that dramatic where a person's head will spin around. But you still see supernatural things when demons do manifest. Because the thing is, they don't like it. Well, like when you start praying and then you can sense the Holy Spirit invades the room, right? Demons don't like that. And so a person could be there normal, and then all of a sudden they start doing the chicken, right? And you're like, okay, it's either I step up or step off, Or like they'll like, dude, I've seen some really weird ones, man. Like, yeah.
You sent me a video or a link a few years ago, and I never clicked on it, and I don't have that email anymore. So
why did you click on it?
I don't know. Didn't want to see it. Wanted to see. See, I'm a big skeptic. I think I've already told you this, right? I'm a big skeptic.
Really? What do you believe in? Ghosts? Most people believe in ghosts.
I don't believe in anything.
Joey doesn't believe in anything.
I don't trust it. I want to see it with my own two effing eyes. And I think I had a conversation with you where I told you I went outside.
You go to church every fucking Sunday.
Not every Sunday. I haven't gone to church in almost a year.
Am I rubbing off on you?
No,
What's
just
your- which
I've
church?
been working,
Oh, it's true.
working and kids and life. You know,
So what church do you go to? If you do go to church?
Taco Bell.
currently no church.
Well, what church were you?
Hold on, hold on. The
What
reason
church?
why I don't go to church,
Okay.
Because they didn't touch you. They skipped you.
yeah, this no, is I want to say it's a little dispute that I have going on.
Okay.
I think I'm right and I think I'm wrong. It doesn't
That's
matter.
fucking great argument.
No. Here's the thing, right? So I was married in the church, and because I was married in the church, now they don't see me as whatchamacallit, or my second marriage as a true marriage.
Valid. Yes, not valid.
So I can't go and get the communion.
Wow.
And my priest, because that priest, when I had the first divorce, I went to spill my guts to try to save my marriage. But obviously, the person that I was with obviously did not want to save it.
Yeah.
So you want to jump on something else.
Okay.
I'm telling her
Boom,
this
boom.
podcast. Actually, no, it doesn't matter. Fuck, I don't care.
I think you've said worse to her, but it's okay.
fuck
Go
her.
ahead.
In a joking way.
The
in a
marriage,
joking
the
way.
marriage was
yeah.
not reconcilable.
So either way, they said, well, we can annul the marriage and it's going to cost $3,000. I said, well, fuck that. But I'm telling you right now, I don't need to do this. You could just go ahead and annul the marriage.
Yeah.
Right? So either way, $3,000 will annul my first marriage, and then they will allow my current marriage to be acknowledged. So the priest first goes, you can't come get communion because you are sinning. Right? And when I did my first confession since probably grade school, the priest goes, I can't give you any
Absolution.
because you're living it. That is your repentance. But
So in order for you to repent, you either have to pay for the annulment and
No,
get
no,
your
no.
thing validated,
No.
or divorce your current
basically,
wife.
when I kept on telling him all my sins and shit like that, he goes, you know
Some
what?
things you're not supposed to say, Carlos.
I can't
He's
give
trying
you.
his
I
best.
can't give you like if I give.
So
you
he doesn't
something,
like you.
I'm gonna have to give you like a million fucking rosaries to read. Sorry, a million rosaries to read. So I was like, okay, but he goes, I can't because you're now living all the shit that you have caused for yourself. And I'm going, you know what? People have done worse, and they go on and read 5 rosaries and be repents, and okay, you're back in the good books. But either way, so that was one. And then when I had my toddler baptized.
He asked you to leave.
I shit you not, pretty close. He goes, your wife doesn't understand the language that when you're coming here. He goes, so why do you guys come to this church? I'm like, because this is my church. I've been coming to this church since I was a little kid, and my wife may not fully understand, but technically, if the word of God is being spoken, in her head, somehow the translation will happen for her to understand. And when we leave church, we kind of like talk about what was missed, you know, the missing gaps in what he said and whatever, right? So basically it's like, oh, go to a French church or go to an all English church.
Are you
go,
fucking
go to
kidding?
a
That's
church
bad, eh?
where you're all understanding. So at that point, I kind of started not giving up on that, but giving it a fact because I see this little goody two-shoe that has 2 different baby fucking daddies, and every goddamn fucking day, she goes and gets her little communion. Just because she's helping the priest, now all of a sudden she's like, annul from any fucking sense. Unfortunately, I'm going, bitch, even though she knows my sister, I'm like, bitch, I was 14. I could have probably fucked your ass, but
That's why they don't want you in there.
so I'm being judgmental, and technically I shouldn't be judgmental because I look at what people are going. Like her 2 sons are now like in their early 20s or whatever, and I'm going, but you're dressed like you're coming to church dressed like you're going to a fucking club.
What's her name?
No, the son.
Oh.
Like you're dressing up to go to a church to dress up like you're going to an effing club.
Okay, so
The-
the
to
point
me-
of your fucking story is
my point of
they
the
love
story-
her, they hate you.
You see a lot of hypocrisy. Like, is that one way to sum this up?
Basically, right? So now this Sunday coming up, I will be going to church.
Why?
And I will be asking him to present my son because it's his last fucking day. he's getting transferred to a different church. So his time in Ottawa is done.
Come on. That's like me having a gym teacher that didn't like me that retired, and he told the other gym teacher about me, and I didn't get treated any better. That's what's going to happen to you, Carlos. He's going to leave a couple notes.
Even so, like, right? He knows my mom was divorced before. I said, he doesn't care if my mom goes up and gets a communion. She goes there. Boom. So I'm saying the church has changed a lot of rules, right?
Just for you.
No, in general. They have changed a lot of rules. So now this divorce thing has to be changed. And then the person that is not to blame for the divorce, yes, I do have 50% of the blame.
I see what you mean.
Right? But I was the one trying to continue with the marriage as opposed to, speaking of the devil.
Put on speaker.
So instead of like, you know what I mean, like, you know, it's like if I wanted the divorce, then yes, you should be the one paying for the fucking cash. And I wanted to salvage the divorce, and I'm the one that's the devil calling. She devil.
The ex-wife.
So I explained to you something about demons, and then I'm skeptical.
But
and then now we're calling somebody a demon. You know, like, what do we really believe here? Because you just gave me like this big long like ball of yarn of your experience with a church that you can't go to or
because the guy
any of the sacraments.
I'll tell you what it is.
And I don't even know if you believe in these.
It's because the guy is it a priest? Is that what he is? What is he called?
He's a priest. Yeah.
Okay, he don't like your face. That's it. And that happens in the human race.
No, maybe he wishes I was a little kid.
They do have rules and stuff that you have to abide by.
But
right?
and
you got to pony up.
It's past all that ponying up right now. They need.
Can't you just drive to another fucking church?
Yeah, I can. Nobody knows me. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But so either way, so I'm a skeptic. I don't believe in ghosts, but I want to see one.
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
I want to be proven wrong. Whatever. I see those ghost adventures and ghost hunters and shit.
The guy loves horror movies too.
Yeah.
You know I love horror movies since I was a fucking kid.
Yeah. Joey too.
Yeah.
Since I was a kid. Oh yeah, go tell your mom we're watching Beethoven. We're popping in the new Friday the 13th movie.
So you're skeptical.
The biggest skeptic. Like I could probably say I've seen shit when I was a kid that still refreshes my mind, but I can't. I gotta see it now. But I don't want to see it at the same time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Here's the thing. There's a lot of things that I've experienced.
Yeah.
That until I've experienced them, I wasn't sure that it existed, that it was for real, or if it was a scam. And then when it happens to you, you're like, I can't believe this. Like,
No, but see,
Right.
I also think now that it's glorified, since like basically since Exorcist and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
That is now like, ooh, that kind of cool, you know?
of course.
I think some people fake the shit to get the attention.
Yeah, I can see. I see what you're saying. I see what
You're going to find some of that. Well, here's the thing. Right now, our culture is obsessed with the supernatural, with the supernormal, with the occult.
Yeah.
If you want to, like all the movies that are coming out,
Yeah, that's
all
very
the
true.
kid show. I can't find a kid show that's not involving like some kind of magic or demonic thing or casting spells. It's a hard time finding a show because I don't find that appropriate for my kids because I want them to learn a biblical belief system, and it's hard because if they're teaching you that dragons are good, right, or there's good witches and bad witches, like I don't believe that actually. Right, and so it's really modeling the next generation to be really open to the occult and the supernatural, all the comic books and stuff like that. People, transhumanism, extreme body modification, a lot of these things are coming because people know that there's more than what meets the eye, right? And so the fact is that it's there, and you've probably experienced supernatural things or paranormal things in your life. Like, you ever been creeped out or like, that kind of thing, like the door, like, I don't know, felt like you were in a haunted house or something like that. Like, most people have had those kinds of eerie experiences. Where you meet somebody.
My mom had a Christmas angel, and then that shit was in the basement, and it was on top of my grandmother's old sewing machine after she passed away, and I was on the computer. That shit was facing one wall. 5 minutes later, that shit was facing me. I fucking ran upstairs.
Okay.
But either way,
Because you're a bitch. Yeah, I probably would have read too.
Most people have had similar
But see,
dreams.
that could have been something like, okay, maybe subconsciously I thought it was facing the other way.
It could be. It could be.
You know what I mean? But now I see
Try to
it.
explain it away.
You know what I mean? So it's not something like, boom, like I want to capture it on camera and fucking actually be like, yes, it's fucking real. Because even when I watch these ghost shows, I'm going, motherfucker, you're going around with this little tape recorder that records, and then you supposedly are rewinding, trying to get frequencies throughout a whole bunch of different things.
I've seen those
And
episodes
out of
before.
nowhere, you get a word. How do you know that those fucking words are not pre-planned?
No, it's TV. Who the fuck knows, right?
It could be, but I actually do think that you can capture paranormal activity, supernormal activity with these instruments because they do create electromagnetic fields.
Okay.
Especially if you look at it from a biblical perspective. A supreme being, Yahweh, God, the creator, created everything that is. So something came out of a spiritual realm and made the material realm. And so everything that exists is undergirded by a spiritual power, right? And it's tangible, right? And the power of God. Like I've been somebody since, I'm talking about 2002, we're 2019. I have been on a quest of studying the Bible and learning about healing and learning about these kinds of things. And man, certain things have cracked open into my life where I've said like, I've prayed for somebody and felt power leave my hand, like electricity. It's like, wow, right? Or like somebody prays for me and I get like knocked down, like something picked me up and threw me down. And now I'm healed. Like you'd think it was weird. Like you watch those like Benny Hinn gifs or those Benny Hinn videos on like if you're scrolling through Facebook and he's like hitting people with the jacket and everybody's getting knocked out. Yo, that happened to me.
Well, dude, I witnessed some weird shit one time when me and Alex went to some kung fu class. This is true, and he's talking about chi and shit like that. And he makes, I don't know if it was Alex or someone else. I don't like that shit happening to me, so I'm like, don't touch me. So, and he like shoved him without touching him, like a good 4 feet away. Just give him a little. And the guy tipped over, and he wasn't facing him, so like couldn't even see it coming. And I was like, what the fuck was that? You know what I mean? And it fucks with you a little bit. You're like, But it, could have been a coincidence of someone standing there a little too long, and I don't know.
Those are the questions you have to. Is it mind over matter?
Yeah.
Did he somehow get some influence over the person's mind and then cause that?
See, I don't know.
like
So,
the
but
hypnosis?
it looked like it worked. So.
And people would say the same thing about it. But the thing is, how is that when somebody's terminally ill and then they're no longer terminally ill? Like, what are you gonna? It's not really a mind over matter. You know what I mean?
That's true too.
Or if you watch somebody's leg grow out.
Have you seen somebody?
I've done that. I've been doing that for like.
Does somebody's leg grow out?
Yeah.
Do you
What
have
the
video
fuck?
evidence of that?
I've got pictures.
What the fuck do you mean?
Okay, so
A
lot of times-
here's the thing, right? Now I'm going. You have pictures. You don't have that video evidence, so I don't know. It's not. You did not crop the pictures.
I've been cropping pictures to fool my friends.
This
The
guy,
thing is,
this guy's been a Photoshop master his whole life.
I'm a pretty good Photoshopper. But here's the thing: whether you believe it or not, it doesn't really change anything for me. Because the thing is, you need to have that experience. Like there might be some day you might need a healing. Please call me. Let's see if it really works. Because I'll be there.
He needs his pee-pee to grow out.
Let that shit grow. But listen,
Help his wife out, please. So, what do you mean his leg? What do you mean his leg?
I don't need to do that.
Oh yeah, he has too many kids.
I don't know why this one works so well. I watched like a minister do it on YouTube. I was like, I'm gonna try this. So like my dad came over and like my dad was always complaining about something, or okay, my back's sore. So I sit him down in a chair, make sure his back is flush against the back, he's square. I pull up his legs, I notice one's a bit shorter. And a lot of times what happens is one leg's actually longer or shorter. Sometimes they are. Sometimes it's your back has tension on one side, or something.
Yes.
Or maybe you carry your wallet on one side.
It could be all sorts. It could be multiple.
Throws off your alignment.
Yeah.
It gets stuck that way, and
Yeah.
now you have back pain, right?
Yeah.
And it can translate to shoulder pain.
Oh, yeah,
mess
yeah.
up your. And so, like, I noticed my dad's feet were off by maybe half an inch. So I sat him down on the couch. I'm like, we're gonna try this. It grew out, and then like my wife actually had a mild scoliosis. If you don't know what that means, it's a curve in the spine. So it throws off the hip a bit. So it's a little bit more than one leg being longer than the other. And as a result of that, one leg was longer than the other. And I prayed for hers and I went, and it matched. And I'm like, did you feel it? And she's like, yeah, I felt it grow. And then like I stood her up, prayed for her
See,
back, and then
hold on. When you're saying that, I'm literally thinking somebody that has no leg, like it's Captain Hook.
No,
That like the leg grow back on.
I was extreme to that though.
You were,
too.
that's where you okay. If that's where you went, I'm
That's just
sorry.
right, that's what I'm
I
like,
would
let me-
love to do that. I would definitely love to do. I'm talking about people who are just walking around like, because there are ministers who are experiencing that. That's why like I'm a guy. I'm seeking God. I want to be able to do that because I think
Okay,
that would
so
be amazing. But the point is, most people, if you find like 100 people, well, maybe 80 of them will have one leg a little bit shorter than another, right? And sometimes it's because of a scoliosis. But I mean, all that stuff. Like, and I haven't actually had one leg not grow.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, but I'm like I've prayed for a lot of people for a lot of different things, stomach issues, even more severe stuff. Like, man, like I've really seen some dudes. And here's the thing: sometimes you're praying for someone. As at my church, at the end, you can come up for prayer for healing or something like that, or if you have an issue, or if there's some issues, you're buying a house, and you're going to lose everything, and it's because you bought something before you sold, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we'll pray and ask God for favor and that kind of thing. And so a lot of times I'm praying for people, and every once in a while someone starts doing the chicken. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, is this God, or is this a demonic thing? What's going on here? And then it's easy to figure out because when you tell it to leave and it goes, and the person's like, whoa.
Yeah.
You're like, okay.
Okay, so my sister, she converted to Pentecostal
Oh, good.
a long time ago.
Oh, yeah, the oldest one.
No,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
second oldest. A long time ago.
Oldest? Okay.
I got 3 sisters. So the middle sister.
Okay.
Okay, a long time ago.
Okay.
And I like when I was a kid, she used to drag me along because my mom and dad were like, "No, you can't have a boyfriend. If you have a boyfriend, you gotta take the boy with
Gotta
you."
bring the cock blocker.
Exactly. I was a cock blocker.
Yeah.
No, they told me go inside, go have a McDonald's or whatever. But either way, so I used to see the shit that they do in their church, right? Because she used to drag me literally. I think for 4 years she used to drag me to
Really?
those church. Yes, and it's like your mom when she used to walk in and say, "That's fake." Right, when you're watching those videos or the
the dudes on TVs,
the
yeah.
dude on TVs and stuff like that. And no offense, I sit there and when she puts up something on Facebook, I kind of laugh because they're all sitting there and sorry to say, fainting or not or crying, but I'm going. Your life is not better than mine. Your health is not better than mine, but you're doing all these things.
Does she drink more Coca-Cola than you?
Fuck, I should be dead. And
Diabetes.
Yeah, you're
You're a diabetes miracle.
But no, do you know what I mean? So it's hard for me because I used to see these people and they would just like throw themselves on the floor, and every other 5 words that came out of their mouth was hallelujah. Maybe that's why I say fuck every other 5 words. So,
Yeah, you swear a lot.
you know what I mean?
No.
So it's hard for me to I kind of comprehend when I go to my church, I take my knees, I go down, and I say my prayers, right?
Yeah.
In my mind, to each their own. I'll sing along with the songs and like your experience with the Jamaican.
Okay, I got a question
church.
for you guys. You guys are different types of church styles. Now, do you find that other people like my belief church style is better than your belief type?
You're always going to find that competition.
You know
I've
what I
been
mean?
trying to give other people cut some slack. I think there's a threshold. Like there's when a person's church is Jehovah's Witness and Mormon and
That's
that kind
my
of
neighbor.
Stuff, that's heresy. Because it's counter to the Bible. They teach things that are other than scriptural. They're false, right? And that's why they're all weird, right? And so but within, I think there's a spectrum of what is actually considered true church. And so it's a little bit different. Like let's say a Baptist guy doesn't really believe in the gifts of the Spirit and speaking in tongues and healing and stuff like that. However, he does believe that you need to believe in Jesus in order to experience salvation.
So you're talking about the main source. There's always a main.
Yeah, there's some fundamentals in doctrine that we all agree with.
Yeah, see, like my experience is my Latin church, my Spanish church, it's more alive.
The Latin? Go ahead. Is that what you said?
My Latin.
Oh, my Latin. Okay.
Then so if I went to my church,
Yeah.
and then I went to let's say Holy Cross,
Yeah.
I would die of boredom in Holy Cross.
Yeah.
Right, because when they're singing and like he was saying this Jamaican, they bring life to it.
Yeah. Because I went to that Jamaican church where he's at. Yeah, dude, it's a fucking it's a party.
Like before,
It's a fucking party.
Before the communion comes on, everybody holds hands
Yeah.
and they sing Our Father.
Yeah.
Where You go to. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I'm like, no one's holding hands. I was like, what the? I'm like, all right.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Then you just say the prayer. So to me, that's the experience. But the Pentecostal one takes the case. I'm telling you, takes the fucking case.
So and even within what's considered Pentecostalism, there's a huge spectrum of different ways people are doing church.
Interesting.
Some of them are like kind of out of order, and some of them are have it more together. And so I don't know what you experienced.
Not experience. The last experience I had with the Pentecostal church was my sister's. She renewed her vow and finally through the church because she got married civically, and it was a 2-hour or 3-hour ceremony in the middle of June, and it was fucking blazing hot. And the special priest that came, the special pastor that came down from Montreal, guy spoke for 2 minutes, saying how lovely it was that two people, blah, 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 reunited, and spent another 2 hours telling me about the end of the world. That's the shit. This is 2010. I remember.
Oh, wow.
This guy is saying, oh yeah, and in Los Angeles, you already see all that thing. 2 hours. I'm going, motherfucker, shut the fuck up. And I told my sister afterwards, I'm like, it is a wedding ceremony.
Yeah.
It should be a happy time. Why did this cocksucker come and ruin it with this fucking end of the world shit?
Okay, I get that, and when I'm involved in a wedding, I don't do that.
Yeah.
Right, and I don't actually think that's a good idea, and I think that's a good way to reach out to people who.
Oh, good. Yeah.
This is not really good outreach. It's not really a good way to who are you gonna get that really likes that end times message? Like it's usually like weird people like that.
So so you did the Jamaican thing. You find it's interesting as hell.
Well, yeah.
You had some amazing experience. Is that where you meet your wife? Where do you meet your wife?
Yeah, I did meet her in Jamaica. One more thing about the supernatural stuff. See, some of it looks like it could be faked until you see stuff that you realize this cannot be faked.
Okay, now,
like when somebody contorts, their face
but also,
contorts.
I see what you're saying.
Or they're on the ground and they're doing things that are physically
impossible for you to
a
do.
human to
Okay, do me a favor. Next time something you're going to that and it's in the Ottawa area, please call me. I want to be there.
But
I do that all the time. Like, I probably could do it to you. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he's fucking. There's something in him. You got to get out.
Oh, that probably is. This guy told me, yeah, there's a demon behind you. I'm like, yeah. You told me that a while back.
Well, think about some of the stuff you went through.
It was your
I don't really,
ex-wife.
really want to open up that book. Like some of the stuff that we discuss, it's within the confines of confidentiality. So I don't really want to tell your stuff.
Well,
but you really went through some really difficult stuff a little while ago, and we prayed and stuff like that. And you know what? Sometimes you're doing your best, and it's nothing more you can do.
Okay, let me ask you a question. I'm not trying to be a dick or trying to make
Or
make fun of you or make fun of your beliefs and stuff like that.
I'm okay with it.
I got a bum knee.
Yeah.
Can you help me? Because it fucking hurts.
Yeah. Okay. For sure. Right now?
No. Just say a prayer later on.
He has a gut. Can you get rid of it?
What's wrong with your knee?
I don't know. Retains water. I think it's going to be gone.
Retains water.
Like, look, I can feel the vein right here.
So are you experiencing pain?
Discomfort.
Yeah, you're experiencing discomfort. Are you experiencing like a lack of mobility?
Lack of mobility. Where you think he's talking about the gut? I haven't done anything physical in over a year.
That has nothing to do with his knee.
Move it freely.
No, I can move it freely, but
It's with pain.
No, not with pain. Discomfort.
Okay, it's with discomfort.
Like I'm afraid to go for my runs.
Can I take care of this?
And I get
Advil.
no, and I gotta get ready for the.
You're not doing that fucking
I'm
race.
doing the Spartan race.
So you
Fucking
can't trust that knee.
Yes.
So if you got healed, how would you know you got healed? The discomfort would leave?
Yeah, I would say, or the swelling will go down.
Okay. Put your knee out there.
Wait, what are you going to do? Kick it in?
No, I'll just pray for it.
It's
If
not
something
me.
happens-
No. No, I'm just saying. If you just before going to bed, just say a little prayer
Why?
for my knee.
Why? Why are you chicken?
Because we're doing a cast and we're not going to make a prayer on.
I wish this was video.
Carlos.
No, we'll talk later.
Look how shy you are.
Yeah, he's scared.
You don't have to do anything. Look, I won't cast any devils out of you.
No, I'm not saying you'll cast anything.
podcast.
I'll try-
I just pray for your knee. Don't be afraid.
No,
I'm not going to go for it too hard.
Tell us about how you met the wife.
Sometimes you'll see things that like a person can't do, and you realize, okay, this stuff is for real. This stuff is serious. Anyways, moving on to my wife. The first trip down there was like assisting my pastor at the time to do some meetings. And what happened is that like my pastor, like when he was in Jamaica, because like I lived in Florida with him, but he's a Jamaican guy and he moved to Florida.
Yeah.
So he was pastoring 3 churches all at one time. Like he was like a super pastor, right? And so he had like.
Hold on a sec. Carlson's being a retard. Did you know there's a door on the other side that you could have just whatever. Go ahead. Sorry.
So he has a lot of like influence there. There's a lot of churches he can go in and speak at and stuff like that. He knows a lot of ministers, but also like he wasn't just like a preacher. He practiced what he preached. Like my wife growing up, he actually took her into his home.
Okay.
And he helped raise her. So he was like informally adopted her.
Oh, okay.
And several other youngsters as well. And so he kind of like opened up his house to the youth, like just
because for my thing, you went to Florida, and changed, matured, and came back with a fiance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell happened down there?
Yeah. No, I needed to grow up, and that's the problem. Like I was just a big kid. Like I was a 21-year-old kid. I didn't mature. Because here's the thing: when you're addicted to alcohol.
Yeah.
Okay, I got addicted to alcohol at about 15. Well, then once you start becoming an addict, that's where your maturation stops. Your emotional, maturity process stops at that age. You're frozen in time. Mm-hmm. So I have an uncle who's like 60, and he still brags to me about how many beers he drunk. And I'm like,
I know. Do you hate that?
When I was 17.
I know.
And so he's still emotionally a 15-year-old. And so I needed to grow up as a man.
Do you know what made me realize that I had to be like, yo, what the fuck? I went to a pub, and I was having some dinner and have a beer, and I see this drunk old man at the bar, and he's trying to hit on the bartender, and lame jokes.
Yeah.
And I went, what a loser. And I was like, I looked at him again, I'm like, I'm only one table behind him. Like literally, when that guy dies, I'm gonna be at the bar becoming this fucking loser.
Yeah.
And it was a reality check in half. Like it was one of those, like, you know what? I saw my future right there. You know what I mean? Get out, smarten the fuck up, do your own thing.
I've had those moments too.
Yeah.
And so like that happened. I was there from 2006 to 2009.
Oh, 3
I
years,
went to
okay.
Jamaica 2007, and then I think it was twice in 2008. So on my first trip, we were up in a mountain called St. Mary. The pastor was doing a prayer retreat.
Okay.
And he had sent for his daughter who lived there, Gail, my wife, to come and pick me up and bring me back to that parish, which is called St. Albert.
Okay.
Oh, it's in St. Albert's in Trelawney. And then do some meetings over there. And then he was going to finish up that meeting and then come and take over where I was doing my meetings and then like kick it into higher gear, right? Because I kind of didn't even know what I was doing at the time.
Okay.
But anyways, I met her and I was like, one of those moments where it's like, wow, I think I love her, but I don't want to be like, it's the pastor's daughter. I'm not even going to say anything. I was like, God, you know what? I think she's the one, but I'm just going to put her on the shelf. I'm going to mind my own business.
You said something about being nervous or something when you asked her out. Is that what happened?
Oh, bro, when I asked her out, it was brutal. Brutal. Because I was, let's face it, I was really shy around women. The girlfriends that I had sort of came up to me, and I just sort of was like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
And I realized that was probably why they were such failures, right? Not that there was anything wrong with them or even that process for other people, but for me, I realized I didn't want this next time. And I also didn't want to be that guy that goes fishing and asks every girl in the church out until you get rejected by all of them until finally one of them is so desperate she accepts.
Like,
So I noticed a lot of guys do that. I did not want to do that. I said, you know what, God, I gave him my list. I'm like, I don't care what color she is. I don't care what her education is. I don't care how much money she has.
Yeah.
I want a woman that has character.
Yeah.
So anyway, I left that there. I saw her, man. And then finally now in 2009, I'm in Florida, and I'm thinking, I'm going to stay in Florida this time for Christmas because I know she always comes here for Christmas. And I'm going to spring it on her because I decided, okay, fine. I'm not going to let this go. Like, we only saw each other coming and going, right? Mm-hmm. We didn't live around.
Did you feel a vibe, though?
I definitely did. Like, I mean, we got along well, and, she seemed normal. I was like, she's a normal person. This is an excellent opportunity. And there's always that threshold, right, when you're not quite friends and it's still awkward.
Yeah.
If you pass and you become friends,
you're fucked.
You it's really difficult, almost impossible to get something romantic off the ground.
I totally agree.
So I realized, okay, this time I'm gonna have to say something, and so like I prayed like I was at Bible
You
college.
used God for this.
Oh yeah. I don't know if I would say I use them. Like, I mean, I asked him if I asked him.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's
please, you know,
legit.
like,
Yeah.
and it wasn't just like give it to her, like, it was just more like, you know what, make me the man I need to be
Yeah.
the husband for her, you
Yeah.
know, like please let me have her, that kind of thing. And then like finally like and then I'm staying in Florida now for Christmas. I'm thinking, okay, she's gonna come up from Jamaica for Christmas, and I'm like, this is gonna be awesome. She calls on Thanksgiving and tells the pastor she's going to Canada for Christmas.
Fuck off.
Yeah. So I'm in the garage. I'm like, God, what's up with this? What's up? What's going on with the plan? I'm like, look, if you really want me to be with her, get those plans
Reversed,
changed.
yeah.
Get her to come here for Christmas. And the plans changed. And I was like, okay, now I got to step up or step off because now she's coming, And so, like, I had this way that I imagined it. And that moment never came. Like, I imagined this wonderful, perfect moment. It never happened.
It never happens.
And, like, my stupid plan was to just be like, look, I love you, and I want to marry you. I told my buddy that, and he's like, dude, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life.
I would
Like,
have fucking died if you would have said that to me, bro.
Those were the first words you told her?
No, that was what I was thinking of saying.
That was his
And
game plan.
I told my buddy this, and he's like, don't do that. And this guy had the worst, like, in my opinion, I'm like, this guy was the guy who was going around to like more than one woman and trying to get something going. And I was like, I had no respect for his lady, his gentlemanly skills, right?
Yeah.
But what he said to me made perfect sense. Sometimes you can give other people better advice than you can,
Do yourself,
than you
yeah.
have your own wisdom, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, that was really stupid. Why was I going to do that? So my plan was now, look, I like you. I like to see if there's something more to this. Let's get to know each other better. That's a more sound, rather than let's get.
I want to marry you.
I don't know you. Let's marry you.
Yeah. So man, the perfect moment never came. I thought, okay, New Year's Eve, the fireworks, everything. It's
Never happens, eh?
It never happened. So I said, all right, I'm gonna have to create a moment,
Yep.
And so we were both like, watching this movie. She was on one couch, I'm on the other couch. It was called The Jewel of the Nile, and it was on like TBS or something. So there's a commercial every 15 minutes. And this is like every commercial break. I'm like, okay, say something.
You got closer.
It's just such a chicken. And then now the movie's about to
I was
end.
just
There's
gonna
like-
say that.
I'm like, there's only going to be like 2 more commercial
Jumped
breaks.
Every cushion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So eventually at the end of the night, I was just like, I laid it on her.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm like, I like you. She was like who? I'm like,
Oh,
geez.
fuck.
I thought she felt something.
Yeah.
I thought this was like a
Yeah.
thing we were both going. Good thing I didn't tell her I wanted to marry her. Right? And I'm like, anyway. Yeah, I love you. It's like, whoa, Anyway.
So your heart skips a beat.
I was like, oh my God, she has no clue. She didn't see this. She didn't get a read on this. Nothing. I'm blindsiding her
Yeah.
on the couch in the pastor's house. Let's see if we're going to be together. And she's like, I'm going to have to think about it and get back to you. And like the night was over and I went to bed and I'm like,
That
wow,
must have
it
been a
was
shitty sleep.
Dude, I woke up in the morning. She was outside. She hadn't even slept all night. She looked like she spent the night in like a washing machine or something. She looked rough and rugged. I'm like, she's like, you really messed me up last night. I'm like, well, sorry,
Yeah.
She's like, I'm still thinking about it. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm like, this is not good. You know what I mean?
I gotta get the fuck
It
back.
wasn't like, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Let's
I gotta
go
get
on
the
a
fuck back to
date.
Canada.
Yeah. So, and the other touchy issue too is like, okay, this is like a serious minister that I live in his house, and like the guy like sometimes like he knows what you're thinking, and sometimes like he'll like have a prophecy, and they're like, wow, that
So
guy just
you rolled the dice.
oh man, I laid it all on the line, man. I let
Wow.
it ride. Yeah. So I thought she was the one, and I went for it. Anyways, a couple days later, she's like, let's go to the beach and talk about it. I'm like, yes. Because nobody gets dumped at the beach.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I never heard that fact, but
no.
you might be right. I don't
Okay,
know.
we're going to talk about having a relationship. Let's go to the beach and talk about it.
Yeah. I don't know.
And so, like, she was like, okay, let's see
The
where this
fuck
goes.
do I know about relationships? Well, go ahead.
If a woman wants to talk about whether she's going to enter a relationship with you
Yeah,
on the beach, it's
yeah.
probably a good thing.
Give me a second. I'm writing this down.
Oh, no. But you're at the beach. You're looking at other things walking around.
At
No,
night,
but he's in love though, so he's not looking around, Carlos.
Is it a test?
Of course.
it was the beach at night, anyway. And then that's how it all got kicked off. So
Yeah, hold on a sec. Carl's gonna close the door again. The fucking tit. All right, he's in better shape than I expected. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, and so we got to know each other for the next little while, and then we got engaged, and then we got married. The engagement was April, and the marriage was
Yeah, so
the
how'd you
wedding was
propose?
July. Well, actually, I actually proposed to her on the couch, and she was like,
Like a slob,
This is like
like a
before,
slob,
like-
like a slob.
Yeah.
like a potato chips in
Yeah,
one
yeah,
hand and
yeah.
and
We're
a
watching
wedding
a movie. I'm like,
a wedding
so,
ring on the
like, and this was like,
No ring. Here's my ringy.
yeah. So we're still getting to know each other. I'm like, okay, so will you marry me? And she's like, she didn't say anything. I'm like, it's either yes, no, or maybe. She's like, or wait. She's like, okay, wait. I was like, okay. And the reason is she didn't want a long engagement. And then, like, sometimes people get on this long engagement, and it's like 3 years out, and
Yeah.
then something happens.
Yeah.
Like, so she wanted something. Okay, the engagement is here, and the wedding's a couple months.
So you're still in Florida at this point?
No, this was back when I moved to Ottawa.
Okay,
So
you moved to Ottawa,
I
yeah,
moved back
yeah,
to Ottawa
yeah.
in 2009. I had that conversation with her in January of 2009.
Okay.
So we got to know each other for a little bit. And then she had a leave of absence from work. She was a school teacher there.
Okay.
And then she spent some time with me. She spent some time with other family in Toronto. And so we spent the week together. Just, seeing if like this is going to work. If
Yeah.
you like the city, if if you like Canada, like, cause we were like, I was like, I'll move to Jamaica with you.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah, yeah.
care. We could stay in Florida. We could go to Ottawa. Or like, we'll just pray about it or whatever. So anyway, she like basically rejected me the first time. Not rejected me, but she put me on hold. And
Yeah.
then when we went to Florida, like I was getting ordained in 2010, April, like Easter.
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
So I was getting ordained at the time. She was there, and we're on the beach again. She was like, "So are you going to propose?" So I proposed to her on the beach.
Nice.
She didn't like the couch proposal.
No, probably not. So-
Everyone,
no, I don't
cou-
think it
no
was that. I
couch.
think it was the timing. Like, and so then we went to the church and we did like a formal engagement.
Okay.
Like that was like the next day. And so then we got married.
Yeah.
And you came, and that was not. Hey, the rest is history. We got 3 beautiful girls, and that kind of thing.
Now, I found when you were, doing the process, being the preacher, did you not find people were fucking weird around you?
Because of what I was doing.
Yeah.
Like
Like, watch what they say. Like, they weren't themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, here's Adam. I'm gonna watch my language, or
sometimes they did, and I think I tried to like ease that feeling, like remove that.
because
burden
with me,
from
people would be like, oh, you see what Adam's doing, and I'm like, he believes in that. He knows I don't. It has never affected our friendship. Not one. It never changed our stories. It was, what are you up to? You talk about church. I'm up to, like, it was always like, nothing was different. But I found people were always like, oh, wow. Like, it's like, I don't know. People were like, it felt like they thought you were going to judge them.
Yeah, I tried my best never.
I
go
know
down
you.
that
I
road.
know you. That's
Yeah.
not the case. But
yeah.
some people might have been like, "Oh my God, he was a fuck up, and now he's this guy. Now he's gonna think I'm a fuck up." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I knew you were never like that. I just found like people around were always like, "Oh, whoa."
People
like,
might anticipate that because other people have become Christians and then acted like a jerk.
Well, do you ever notice someone that like quits drinking booze and then tells everyone you shouldn't be having a fucking beer, or stop smoking cigarettes, and then the ambassador of never smoking, or
Yeah, I think what's different with me is I had a
Like
genuine.
everybody I meet.
yeah, exactly.
I had an encounter with God where it was like a train wreck where I was completely changed as a person inside. And it took a long time to walk it out and make some of those adjustments. But, and that's what, and I realized where I'm coming from. Like, hey man, I was an alcoholic. I beat up my dad.
But it's
Like,
easier to for someone that's like, in a different path. It's easier to talk to someone like you. Because you can have some sort of common with people, right? But having a straight edge guy from day one, would be like, yo, tell me what you feel. I'm like, nah, fuck off. Like,
Yeah,
you
and
know
that's
what I mean?
that's a challenge my wife and I are going to have with our daughters because we're raising them in an environment where it's Christian, it's biblical. It's,
Yeah.
they're loved. If they get a cold, we're praying for them. And like we're always praying for them. We're always telling them we love them. We're doing the things I wish I kind of had. Like my parents did the best they could with what they had, but they didn't have this. And so since I have this, I'm sharing it with my kids, and they're going to grow up loved every day.
Yeah.
And we have to be able to share with them, like, look, you can't judge other people who aren't being raised like this. You
True
have to
enough.
love
True
them,
because
right? And so I've always tried to
Because
not be that guy.
my buddy Darren, he has like a boy and a girl, and even he's like, it's tough to be a parent, right? Like it's tough, like because you think you think you're doing this, and a fucking curveball gets thrown at you. He was telling me one time that like his kid came back from school, and he's like, so and so is wearing a different type of brand of shoes, and Darren's like, oh fuck, did I fuck up? Shouldn't I bought my kid Jordan? Like now, like he just the kid just expects that every kid should have those shoes. He's like, he's like, just the little things of like, well, it doesn't mean that those are not good. We were talking about it, how it's really hard to like. You think you're doing really great, but at the same time, you're like,
So hold on, he bought his kid a Jordans, and some other kid said no, the Walmart brand are better.
No, he didn't understand why the kid was wearing Walmart brand.
Oh,
Because in his mind, he doesn't understand that there's no such thing because he's only been around a certain style of shoe.
okay.
So now he has to explain to him that this kid's not, not you're lucky. He isn't like, but you can't judge. Like he's like, like it's just the minor things of this. He went to school and came back and a little curveball's thrown. I was like,
Not screw that. Like my kids, they will have their Nikes or whatever. They go to school with their Nikes, and then inside for their indoor shoes, they have fucking Walmart shoes.
okay, that's great,
I
Carlos.
don't expect them to fucking be. I'm not buying 2 pairs of fucking expensive shoes.
Well, tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, it's a challenge for everybody.
So then let me ask you this.
Everything's a challenge.
Because you're saying you're raising your daughters a certain way, which is great.
Yeah.
Okay, but my view on what you had the problem and the alcoholism and all the other things was because, no offense, your mom was a stickler when we were kids.
Yeah,
And I
Yeah.
think you rebelled against her
Absolutely.
when you got to be a teen.
definitely.
Now, are you going, like, to me, I like the way I'm raising my kids, I know I fucked up when I was young.
Yeah.
I know I did stupid things. I did the drugs, I did the alcohol before you did.
Yeah.
But
Smoking since grade 5.
not smoking since grade 5. Me and another
Grade
friend,
6.
someone
4.
brought a pair of smokes, and them, the
Became-
2 stupid ones started continuing smoking throughout, even though he's going around
Nice.
smoking a vape and thinks he's smoking less.
Okay, go ahead.
But so the way I'm raising my kids is experience it, but know there's a limitation to it. Like if my stepson has, I don't agree with it, but he's smoking, and I'm telling him, you're fucking stupid. You're stupid.
Did you tell him that you're the king of stupid?
Yes, so stupid. No. I say, hey, listen, I work, I have my money. I can support this stupid habit, but you don't. You can't even go buy it. When I was a kid, your age, I was able to stand in the street corner, beg people to buy me a pack of smokes, and then eventually 1 out of 5 people will go buy me that pack of smokes. You are now asking your parents, and I won't do it. Your mom won't do it. Your dad won't do it. I don't know how you're getting them, but fine. But I'm telling him, since I found the day one he started smoking, I knew that he was smoking. I said, stop it now, because it's an addiction that whatever, you don't get rid of.
Well,
And he tried the marijuana. I said, have it a couple of times, let it go. Right? Have this beer. He missed somebody's birthday party last year because he was drunk from a buddy's house the night before. Stupid. Don't do it again. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm willing to let them try, but not actually supply it. But like, at least tell me about it, so you could experience it. But then I could coach you.
So you have a dialogue or whatever.
yeah, but
I've seen that.
You
I've
don't-
seen that fail.
I was just gonna say, there's no right way or wrong
There's
way.
no, but are you allowing that? Like, do you have to fear your daughter?
You have 3 daughters,
Yeah.
Do you fear that your
3
daughter
personalities, right?
Yeah.
So you react one way. All 3 of them might react differently. Might be like, "Ooh, I'm scared of
Yeah.
dad." The other one's like, "I'm gonna test dad." The other's
Yeah,
like, "I don't care about dad."
Yeah.
Like it's. I go to Alex's house. You have 3 boys, dude. They're all completely different.
Well,
I coach kids. When I coach kids, dude, even coaching, motivational, I can yell at you and get you going, but I have to talk to him.
Oh, you can't yell at kids
You know
the
what I
way
mean?
you're coaching
But You know
anymore.
what I'm trying to say? There was different ways of motivating people. Not the one way worked on 30 fucking kids. It was like,
That's
okay,
true. Yeah.
I know this one's a little tougher. I can kick him in the butt, but this one I gotta build up. And this one I gotta talk to. And this one, there's different ways. This one I gotta discipline differently. You know what I mean? That's what. There is no right way, but at the end of the day, it's who does what. Like,
Why do you keep drawing things under my name?
I have a notepad here to sort of organize my thoughts. So I'm listening to him.
Yeah.
But I don't want to lose my thoughts.
yeah, good call.
He keeps on putting circles around me.
Yeah, he's putting a voodoo on you. But that's the thing. I find there's no right or wrong way. It's what kid is going to react to what. You know what I mean? It's you've as a hockey player, you've been coached.
Yeah.
I hate this fucking coach. The other one's like, oh, whatever. You know, he perspires through it.
You got good teachers, you got good coaches, you got good parents, you got lousy
Yeah.
parents, and then you have different students.
Students, that's right. And it's
players
just
and
that-
kids. But I think my strategy is going to be a bit different because of my strategy is because I don't want to make the same mistakes my mom made by putting so many restrictions on me that I felt the need to rebel.
And when
Right?
you
So
exploded,
I wanna
all at
teach
once, yeah.
my kids different levels, age-appropriate levels of independence. So I want to teach them, I want to give them the space to learn and make mistakes. And when they succeed, I give them more freedoms. And when they succeed, I give them more freedoms. And I'm also not going to shelter them for, like, here's the problem. So it's like, okay, don't go here. Well, I can actually take her there and show somebody. Like, now you can show some. Okay, I'm the big deal with me. I don't want my kids sharing lip gloss because I don't want them to get like herpes or something.
Yeah.
Because I know somebody who lent their chapsticks
Yeah.
to someone and they had the worst form of herpes the world has ever seen. Right?
But they're kids right now. They're kids.
and
I don't think they're running around with
kids get
herpes.
herpes, bro. And
No,
so
but he's-
here's the thing.
but he's
I'm
stopping
trying to
it,
teach
though.
the idea. I don't want you sharing lip
Yeah,
gloss.
I totally get that.
And so if she's taking my lip gloss, she might take her friends at school. So I got to teach her this now, so that when she's 16,
Fuck that, I don't wanna do it,
she
yeah.
already knows it.
Yeah.
These are basic things.
Yeah.
And so how hard is it? Go on YouTube. Herpes, lips.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a picture. Do you want your face to look like that? No? Don't ever do that again. You can experience. The old days, you couldn't do that. You'd have to okay, where are you going to find somebody with
What's
it?
that shit that you could get that grows like weird shit from sex? What's it called?
That's a great description.
It's like mushroom, fuck, I can't remember.
Fungus?
No, it looks like mushrooms growing or some shit growing on your dick or something like that.
Yeah,
So
you
my
could get- you could
15-year-old,
get- you could
I
get
said, buddy, be
genital
careful.
warts.
If you go, I'll buy you the goddamn fucking condoms and you're going to start fucking. But wrap that shit up because this is what you get
Yeah. No, I
That is not true.
most of the time.
it could happen. It does happen. But here's my strategy with the kids. I don't want them to go in the. I don't want them to try marijuana. I want them to know why it's actually not a good idea for you.
Oh, no, I've tried.
You
telling
find-
him.
And if no, that's different. If you found out that your kid has smoked marijuana, and now you have to come up with a new strategy. Okay, my first strategy to prevent this failed. So now, how do we navigate this? Now?
What's your thought on legalizing marijuana?
You know what? I think-
being a father now.
I actually, they'll legalize everything eventually, but you know what? I don't think it sends a good message to kids because I think it tells kids that it's not as harmless as it is. I know people who were on the cusp of, mental illness, and they went over the edge. They've become full-on schizophrenics, and now they're medicated and they're not super functional. They
See what
can't
I mean?
get a
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
Certain.
I thought it was always a demotivational factor, this thing.
How many
We've
times
witnessed
do we make plans with our buddies? They'd smoke a big joint, and then they're not going out anymore.
Yeah,
They're
that's
done.
it. That's it. For the day,
And
yeah.
some people are productive. It's not. There's exceptions to
Well,
the rule.
there is a podcast I listened to. It was a Joe Rogan podcast, and they had Wiz Khalifa on there with the marijuana thing. And he goes, what brand, what have you been smoking? He's like, I smoked this one strain. And he said, this strain works for me. It doesn't get me too fucked up, Like, he goes, it's medication. As soon as you find the right dose and the right whatever, do it for yourself. Don't try. He goes, and then they were talking about that's right, because if you don't too potent or not enough or whatever the case may be, some will make you eat better or whatever, kill the pain. But I kind of believe in that, even though it's just like pain pills. Take 3 to take the pain out of his knee, but then some people will smash 20 of them, right? Take it over the top and kaput, finish, dead, right? So it's a little, but the whole legalizing thing, it's always like, now is it? There's two ways I look at it. The negativity is, is it not as harmful as you think it is, blah, blah, blah. And now is it, because it's legalized, is it even going to be cool anymore? Are the kids going to steer the fuck away from it, maybe?
No, I think they're going to steer more to it.
You think so?
Yeah.
And we know a guy, and he's found his daughter with marijuana recently, and guess what her excuse was? Well, they legalized it,
Yeah, it's a cop-out. Yeah, I get it.
right? You give them that excuse, and I don't think.
Well, there's
that's
that one
what you should
country,
do.
they legalized drugs in general, and then the drug usage went down. So it's kind of weird,
I don't
right?
know, sometimes those
What
stats
was
are
it?
skewed. man.
Portugal, no?
Something like that. Something like that, yeah.
Legalize all drugs. You
All
could do-
drugs, and then the drug uses went down. Like, I don't know.
I just prefer you know what? If you don't put yourself, if you don't need it, you're better off.
I get it. Yeah, no, I get it.
And there are, like, I've seen, like, this person with, like, severe, like, MS, or I don't know if he had multiple sclerosis. He had something really bad.
Yeah.
And, like, they gave him, like, this elixir with marijuana, and he was giggling and laughing, but he stopped all the tremors. And I'm like, I have no problem with this.
I see.
And sometimes other medications don't work, and that does.
I get it.
ain't
I
got a
get
problem with that.
I
I'm
get
not
it.
crazy.
No, I get it.
But
So,
I don't think
now that it's
makes-
legal, would you try it? Would you have it?
He's been through it though.
Yeah, I've smoked enough of it, I've had good experiences with it, and I've had really bad ones, right? And I realized this stuff is very powerful.
See, like I
You
haven't.
can go to the hospital, like have a complete mental breakdown because you smoke too much. You know what I mean? Like I've smoked so much, I thought I was gonna die.
I haven't smoked as much as you. I've only done it 10 times, and last time I touched it was 2001. Like I still remember that thing. But either way, now that it's like, and it's sort of like the kids, right? Now that it's legal, some part of me is saying, would it kill me if I have a joint?
Maybe you need a joint.
See,
No, but like, you know what I
get
mean?
it.
Like
Yeah.
a guy that works with me goes, here, have some. And then I'm like, but I don't need it. I don't want it.
That's different then. That's fine though.
But it's like, is it okay? Like, should it, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a smoker, and why not go in my backyard, have a joint, see?
If it's good, if you think it could benefit you by helping you relax, sleep, which you have no problem going to bed, you usually sleep on the fucking
yeah,
couch.
you put the fucking wrestling on, and like,
But like, if there's a beneficial thing of doing, like you were saying, help people do certain things.
Maybe it helped my knee.
Why not? Maybe. I'm just saying, I get it, but just like everything else, like, having a couple beers isn't bad, but having 20 of them is fucking terrible.
I cannot have a couple beers.
I
can have one, but I can't have three.
See,
if I have three,
I said this.
it's off.
I said this. I told people. I said after the third, the whole fucking night's written out. I got to figure out how to have 5, 6, 7. But the one, 2, 3, I've had the same problem. But I know that.
if you stretch them out throughout the day, let's hear like.
Yeah, I'm gonna stretch them
that, you tell yourself that, and you're done.
Because I used to go to people's houses, like, yo, you want to come by for a couple beers? And I'd be like, how many do you have? Because if you only have 6 and we got to share it, I don't want any.
Yeah.
Because it's got to be, after 3, it's a ton, and 1, okay, whatever. But yeah, I learned that, like, that thing now. I know where to, how come you never drink with me? Well, it's because I get started now. I'm stuck here for the rest of the fucking night. I know when my self-control is a little bit lost. I don't need it. I don't care for it. But after 2 or 3, yeah, I'm enjoying it a little bit too much. Yeah, I get it.
I think the same thing happens with marijuana. You get desensitized to it, and now you're like, okay, I want to feel a little bit more. Here's one of the good things I think that happens when you're getting it out on the street. Like, you don't know. Like, I've had a guy who was a dealer in high school, and he told me, like, hey man, I left my dealer's house the other day, and then I just looked around his backyard, and I saw him pouring gasoline on the weed, and I confronted him, like, why did you just do that? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, this is a guy that's your bro, and he's poisoning the stuff, right?
Wow.
And so I think, like, if it's going to be like the government's distributing it and stuff like that, a lot of that stuff is going to get cut out, and you're going to get the straight product more likely than not. It's not going to have, like, it's not going to be expired and, have fungus on it and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's the positive, but then the fact that you're gonna pay probably like $30 with 2 grams is probably insane too.
And the fact that I think a lot of the people who think they're getting
But do you
benefits
get
out of
full
it are,
grams?
Sure.
I think people often lie to
Everyone has
themselves about how helpful it actually is. I needed to go to sleep. I think that's something you say to yourself to justify doing it.
Oh, yeah. I've heard it all the time.
I mean,
I concentrate better.
Yeah, I heard that
yeah.
before.
It's all just because what are you gonna do? I can't prove that you can't concentrate better with it, so I can't argue with it.
No, but I've also heard now, given this fact that my son is technically in the autism spectrum, I've heard of cases where the kid actually functions better with it.
Who knows, man? Who knows? And again, it's not gonna be every kid though.
yeah.
You know what I
some
mean?
kids is going to wreck them. You know what I mean?
No, like, to me, I wish my kids never try it. My biological kids wish they never try it. But again, I try to tell them, it's like,
Sure.
like
You have to have some sort of a strategy.
You got to be open to what the hell you do and whatever. Like my daughter yesterday comes up to me, she goes, Carlos, because my son's name's Carlos. Carlos was up last night playing on the Switch all night, and he finished Platoon. And he's like, no, don't die. She's like, don't keep a lie from your dad. I loved hearing that.
Yeah.
I love hearing because she, like, you know what I
You
mean?
love a rat.
No, it's not a love of that. It's basically she knows not to lie to me. I love it, right? And like we were shopping yesterday, and she's like keeps on going. Oh, look at that mannequin. She's showing her belly. right? Because she wants to get one of these shirts that
Yeah,
she
yeah.
can tie up and shit like that. So I kind of explained to her and saying, look, I don't care. You want to have a belly showing, go for it. But learn to fucking respect yourself. Learn to respect yourself. Right? Because we already know our mommy's a hot pants person. And
So hold on a sec. Then you gave her a joint? What's going on with the story here?
no. So I'm just saying, like, so my kid, I told her, I'm like, I'll let you do it, but make sure you respect yourself. Don't let other things cloud your judgment. But I also told her the mannequin also has a six pack, and sweetheart, you do not.
Father of the decade over here.
So then we went to another store, and then I'm like, okay, you know what? This shows a tiny little bit of belly. Let's start off there.
I don't know, man. I don't have these issues. Good luck, boys.
Oh man.
And I've been buying her like these skirts, more or less like little mini skirts, and that's like I've been fine with that.
How old is she now?
She's 9.
9. Okay. So my oldest is 6.
I don't know.
She must be super cute with like the curly hair and all that.
It's crazy.
The thing is, I feel sorry for her.
Her hair is thick.
Yeah.
It's like fucking freezy like a motherfucker.
Oh yeah,
That's awesome.
it's crazy. So Adam, what are you up to these days with church and stuff now? What's
So for the last 2 weeks, like I've been an associate pastor for a while.
Okay.
I've been ordained since 2010. I've always sort of been in ministry of one degree or another, whether it was ordained or not. But I actually work at the church now.
okay?
So I'm on staff, and what the plan is, the pastor is going to be transitioning the church to his son-in-law and daughter,
Okay,
and then me and the pastor are going to plant other churches in Canada.
sweet.
So that's what I was doing in Vancouver last week. We're at a conference that talked about different strategies and stuff like that, and so I'm going to be doing church planting now. So I'm going to be doing some traveling. It's kind of like that's always what I wanted to do.
That's fucking awesome, man.
So finally broke into okay, this is also what I do as a career,
Yeah,
right? Because it's weird, like you're a car salesman and you do ministry, and like I never told the customers, I never use it to leverage my customer. I'm like, I'm a minister. Like, well, what good is that going to do? It's just going to think, okay, you're double the liar, So I always just like try to treat people the best, and I never lie to anybody, stuff like that.
yeah. You fucking
And
hated
then
selling
let them
cars.
figure it out.
So
You hated it, huh?
it doesn't matter the person's race if they want to get into the same kind of line of ministry.
Yeah.
Then they could call your
If they're a
church.
human being, yeah, they're good. They're good to go. Yeah, well, why? And
Carlos's church, they don't even want him in there, so that's why he's asking.
Oh no, open
and
up
so-
a second one. No.
yeah, so it doesn't matter where you're from. Like I have like my wife is black and I'm white.
No, I'm just saying like Vancouver's. Yes, I know. I'm going to say Asians. So it's an Asian church.
Okay, so you bring up a good point, and this might reach back to some of the other stuff we talk about. Some of the stuff that I used to like to do, like the drinking, the smoking, the tripping out, the fighting, all those areas are aspects of my character that God built into me. The
Okay.
aggression,
Yeah.
but the thing is, it was corrupt. So I wanted to use it to hurt people. So now that aggression and that violence, I would, when I pray for somebody, I'm praying against the sickness. You know what I mean? In an aggressive way, like I'm fighting for this person's life. Like I've been to hospitals where people are in comas and I pray for them. And they come out of the comas, bro. Like it's not something that just the same way I'm not lying about the fights. You'll have to take my word for it. Sorry.
Not true.
But like,
I never looked at you as a liar one bit. You know what I mean?
This happens.
I'm not calling you a liar. I'm just asking you like any kind of race to go.
So here, I'll get to that. I'll build it first. And so also the tripping out thing. I used to love to smoke weed and think about like I was saying. Now, I just pray, and then the Holy Spirit starts to come upon me, and it's like you feel different. Like you can actually feel drunk when the Holy Ghost comes on you, and it's scriptural. Like on the day of Pentecost in the book of Acts chapter 2, the Holy Ghost comes from heaven, comes on the church. It covers them with fire. They start to speak in tongues. So they start to speak about Jesus, and everybody from every part of the world where they were from heard them in their own dialect.
Okay.
Right? And these
That's
people,
why I'm saying it doesn't matter if my wife goes to a Spanish church and she's English and French, that she will still be able to understand it.
That should not matter. I don't even know why that
makes
I
no
just
sense.
when he said she doesn't understand, I thought she didn't have like a theological grid to understand Catholicism, because I thought maybe she wasn't Catholic.
She's
But
Catholic.
turns out she's French.
Yeah, that's
And
pretty
she
fun.
can't go to the.
It's pretty good.
I got no use for that, bro.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I stopped going.
Maybe that's why I stopped at 16. So and I never did go to church anyways, but it was just like, that's okay, I'm formally done with this. But the point is, I have these experiences that are better than what I had on marijuana or drugs, or I get drunk in the Holy Ghost and I'm laughing, and it's like, and it's not like it produces nothing. It produces fruit in my life. Like, look, I have joy now that I never had. I was always on the tip of being sad. You know, I don't have that anymore. I have good times.
Yeah.
The environment, the atmosphere in my house feels good. Like, my kids we're not fussing and fighting. There's not, you ever been somewhere that's just tense?
Yeah, it's
not
negative.
like that in my
Yeah.
house. And if it gets like that, I break it, start praying, right? And the same thing with the drinking, the smoking, and the fighting. And so my character, that guy that's not afraid to jump into a crowd of people and start, laying out people, haymakers and all that kind of stuff, and hoping for the best. I do that with church. So I don't care if you like me
beating
because
up
I'm
a whole
white,
bunch
or
of people.
He's just- no,
Get
he-
a church.
he's
if you don't
throwing-
like me because I'm white, or my wife is black, or
Yeah.
my kids are mixed, or any of that stuff. I don't care. What are you going to do about it? Right? Most people can't beat me up still, right? And look, if you let me pray for you, you'll probably start getting miracles in your life. So people just start to relent. Like, look at the way I look. Like, I'm not like the typical pastor the way you
No,
look
that's true,
at them.
that's true.
Right? A lot of them, they're nice guys, or they're like kind of creepy looking, or like now they all want to be hipster. Like, I'm not a hipster. I can't do it. I am what I am, and I'm like this way for a reason. And I'm not Mr. Nice Guy. I'm not Mr. Rogers. I'm not Ned Flanders. Like, I'm still kind of a gangster.
Yeah.
Except now it's not corrupted. It's filled with the Holy Ghost. It's good. And like, look, I care about people.
Yeah.
And even the people that don't like me, like, I'll be praying and I realize the Lord wants me to bless this person. It's like, great. Every time I get upset with somebody, it's going to cost me some money, right? And so I just stopped getting upset with people.
True enough, true enough.
So that's kind of like, I don't care about race. And if you're Chinese, I prayed for a Chinese guy. He's one of the parents of the kids at we go to collect our kids at the end of the day. He's Chinese. I just told the story yesterday at church. And like, he was one of those guys that pretends he doesn't speak English. Because like, I talked to him a few times to get him,
get out of the
because I
situation.
wanted his daughter to go to my kid's birthday party. And it was kind of like one of those language barrier things.
He
I'm
didn't
like,
want to buy a gift, that's why.
no, like he's got money. Anyway, the kid ended up coming, but anyways, like, I saw him hobbling around, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna see if I can pray for this guy. So I prayed for him. I'm like, hey, so what happened to your leg? He's like, oh, and I was just like, can I pray for you? And he was like, oh, sure. I guess he thought when I go home, like Carlos just did. And I'm like, here, put your hand in my hand. And he's like, huh? And I lit him up, and I prayed for him in the name of Jesus. And I could see the power jump down onto his foot. And he's like, oh, what happened? He's tapping the floor. He's banging his foot on the floor. He's like, what did you do? Like, I'm surprised. Like, what happened? Like, his foot got healed. I'm like, bro, Jesus loves you, man. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't try to like, okay, you got to come to church with me. Like, I just wanted to love on the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's Chinese. The gospel works on the Chinese, and it works on anybody who's a human. It works on.
No, I'm just saying anybody that might be interested.
So
Good.
I worked well in Jamaica. I'm like the only white guy maybe they've met in a long time, and like, it's actually a good thing. It was like, hey,
Very
they
true.
want to listen to you. They want to talk to you. You're kind of like an oddity.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
It's
different,
like,
something different.
All right, so
too.
you
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
them
yeah.
about Jesus, light them
Yeah.
up, or I'm planning on, I haven't like, not formally planning, but like, I'm looking at the flights and stuff. Like, I want to go to Liberia, like, I don't care about people's race. I love people,
No, that's
and
good.
if they're like, I don't care, like, what, and if they have a problem with it, what are you gonna do about it? Are you gonna kill me? I don't know. Like, I'm okay with it.
So after all
I was
these,
gonna die anyway.
good call. So after all these years, till technically today, you're doing exactly what you really wanted to do.
Yeah.
When it breaks it all down, all the fuck ups in the beginning, all the good times, the bad times, everything else, and today, married, 3 girls,
Yeah.
happy as hell, doing exactly what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it took a while to get there. I think it's because of the kind of calling that I have is a little bit different. I'm not like the typical pastor. Like, if you're going to do church plants, it sometimes takes a little while to simmer and marinate. The calling.
Is
You
there?
gotta do a lot of
Does
work.
Adam Cregan have a big goal, big ending to certain things? Are you aiming towards something?
Yeah, what I want now is I want to press into more of the power of God. I want to see more miracles. I want to see more people get healed, more people set free, more people experience joy that they've lost since they were a kid. Like, a lot of people just don't have any joy anymore. People our age are miserable. They
Oh, absolutely miserable.
and sometimes you pray for somebody or they give their life to Jesus and they're like, you know what, I haven't felt like this since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And that's what I like to see. And, I'd like to do some missions in Africa. I'd like to do some missions anywhere, really. And just, I want to do some more itinerant ministry where I speak.
That's cool, man.
And that's basically it. And I want to raise my girls to I think they can probably get into ministry too. And that's another thing when you're into these kinds of churches, women aren't restricted too. Right?
That's cool.
Like if you're gifted and if you're blessed and you're called.
I know. I think my
my
sister's also a minister or something like that.
You can be a minister, right? And I think some of my kids show, like Rebecca, she was 3 at the time. She's 4 now. My dad came over. Like I had a weird day, and my dad said something that bugged me a little bit. And then he was like my knee sore. He was hobbling, and like he lifted up his jeans and was like this thing, like the size of a baseball, popping out the side of his knee. And I'm like, whoa, like that's more severe than I thought it was. I was kind of cheesed off, so I'm like, hey Becca, go pray for Pops.
I haven't seen Lender in a long time.
She runs because the Bible talks about you can get oil and anoint the sick, like olive oil.
Okay.
So we teach them that. But she didn't know. She's just a kid. So she just grabbed the lotion. She grabbed the lotion. She rubbed his knee and she prayed for him.
That's so cute.
The way I taught her.
Yeah.
And the next day I'm like, yo, Dad, how's your knee? And he lifted up his leg and it was absolutely normal. And she's 3 years old. And she's working miracles. And Alethea is she's kind of like me in a lot of ways. So I think she might be in faith. I don't know what's going to happen with her. She's only one, but she's a force to be reckoned with. So I'd love to see my girls go into ministry too.
No, those girls are too cute, man.
Yeah, and if they don't, then that's okay too. But I want something good for them,
Yeah.
like some professional career, stuff that I didn't really. It wasn't. Look, only thing my dad cared about was slap shots. It's the only thing I cared about as a kid is slap shots, and it kind of limited my future. If you're not going to make it to the NHL or play in your
once it's done, it's done. It's like
once you're done, you're done.
Plan B is yeah.
Yeah, my dad there was no academic incentives for me. You got C pluses. It was like, great job.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like, let's go to hockey.
Yeah,
that's what really matters.
His slap shot's at 80 now.
You know what I mean? Wicked slap shots.
Yeah.
So that's it. Yeah, I'm actually now walking in the things that I always wanted to.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. No, and the beauty is I still got the same friends I had back in the day. So,
that's true.
Like we can't always hang out because you're doing stuff, I'm doing
true,
stuff.
Very true, yeah.
But we can pick up like this, and it's.
What's
fun.
the thing? I just wanted, you know what I mean? The podcast is interesting, right? I just wanted people to know, some of the stuff that you do and the positive vibes and everything else. But even with you having you here, I got to learn a couple more things from because like you said, when we get together, it's very short. It's when you get together and get a piece of pie, it's usually what you've been up to lately.
Yeah, or when we need something. Right?
Yeah, so sometimes it's like being like this. There's a couple more questions I had from 15 years ago that I was like we never got to catch up with, right? So stuff like that, or you're telling me you're in Vancouver. I called you on the phone. You're like, I'm in Vancouver. It's like, cool. I want to know more about that. But 3-hour time difference. I'm doing this. You're over there.
And that's interesting because you're. Like we're still bros.
Yeah.
Like and like you're day one of your new job and I'm like day one of my new
job.
That
was exactly it. That was it. That was it.
And you're a guy who's encouraged me to do this.
Yeah, and that's
even though you might not have thought like this is weird. Was he in a cult? Was he what is he up to? Like who knows what my friends thought? But you know what? Like I always just tried to keep it real.
Man, the way I looked at things was like, who the fuck am I to say that this? I'm gonna disagree. I don't believe in certain things that people believe. But it makes you a better human being.
It makes you happy. That's
but you know what I'm trying to say? So it's like, you know what I mean? People might have looked at me like, oh, Adam's, Joey's still friends with Adam. He doesn't really believe in Adam. But it's like, yeah, but he's a better man today. He's, you know what I mean? He's happier today. I don't give a shit what it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know where he was heading. You know what I mean? Like, and where he is now.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm happy. Like, it's not why would I ever dog that? It's something I don't believe.
Yeah.
I don't have the balls. It doesn't make any sense to see someone's happiness. And dude, you got a family and 3 beautiful girls. This is fucking fantastic. You know what I mean? I love it.
And like, look, it wasn't looking like anything was going to turn out.
No, man, it looked like we're all going to go to jail eventually, right? So like, it's close, man. It's close call though. But Carlos, you look tired.
I didn't get to go.
Are you going to be coach of the year eventually in softball?
Fuck no, man.
No, are you guys winning?
That on the umpire today.
You're
Oh man,
he's turning into that guy now. He's talking about he wants us.
I know what that sounded like.
He wants us to. He wants
Did you do it in
us.
Spanish?
Well, why would I do it in Spanish?
Every time I used to walk by your house, you and your sister would be like,
Come on. If you're gonna bitch, the best language to bitch is in Spanish.
No. He called my player out, or the other player safe, and I'm like, he did the ball. I'm walking away. I'm like, I'm walking away.
Carlos is going to get banned from softball soon. 2 more games, they call it.
But the player got tagged out. The other player, it's this home plate, this incident, right? And so the guy has the ball.
Carlos, I don't think anyone on this podcast gives a
But
shit.
listen. How can this other guy be safe if he's sitting on the player's glove and the ball is in the glove?
So you're saying it's physically impossible?
How could he be safe?
Yeah.
So I had to make sure that my player, but even though it didn't get reversed.
Did you win?
Fuck no.
This guy's a terrible
They
coach.
You had passion.
I can't be the
Latino passion.
Yeah.
man. I can't
good.
be. No, I can't be the like. Oh my god, I can't get these kids out to their goddamn practice, and I can't force them. Fuck.
How old are they?
12.
You used to always go to practice.
But
Was it
I
different generation?
I said, okay, this is what I said at the beginning. I said, either Saturday or Sundays. Every Saturday or Sunday. Oh, well, we got this and we got that and this and that. And I could keep on.
How did you
Oh,
get
you
screwed?
got baseball.
How'd you get screwed as a coach?
My ex-wife.
The devil.
I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it last year with my son, but unfortunately, the stupid coach that I'm playing tomorrow said, no, you can't be a coach. I was like, oh, F yourself.
That's very, very, very mature of you.
Yeah. And, yeah, so
When's your next game, Carlos?
tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
You guys are going to win tomorrow?
No, because we only have 7 players and we need 9.
There's a dilemma over here.
Fuck. I'm trying to get ringers in, but fuck, they won't let me.
Fuck it. All right, man.
It's a lot of fun.
Adam, I'd like to say thank you for coming out today, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's been great. Carlos, keep your head up and fire yourself as a coach and get a new one, all right?
No, I'm not going to fire
All
myself.
right.
I'm going to coach of the year.
Oh, here we
when
go.
we
man.
win the tournament.
Oh,
All I care for is that fucking tournament.
oh, my God. Here
Everything
we go.
else is a warm-ups.
That's great, Carlos. All right, man. It was fun shooting the shit with you boys, man.
right.
All right. Peace, Bryce. Later.